Exactly, and then just try to pour as much economic energy as you can into Pulse whenever Pulse or PulseX or whatever it is, um, whenever it comes out. But luckily, I was able to get through the sacrifice of PulseX. Not so much for Pulse. I was a little bit late on Pulse, but sacrificed a little bit. I think I was on day 40 or something like that.
Oh, I mean, that's still not that. It's still pretty good, comparatively.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I got like 1 to 1,000, something like that. It was about tenfold worse than the opening, the original sacrifice date.
yeah, yeah. It's not horrible. I mean, at least you got some skin in the game, and then maybe you're not so worried about rushing in like everyone else at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I still say I think I was on half hour ago or whatever it was. And I was still giving the advice that if you got like let's say $3,000 you want to put in, um, set that for a DCA play, right, for the next 24 weeks, right, where you put in $100, right, you can move over $3,000 right away as soon as Pulsechain launches. Keep it in the stable coin, let's say like an USDC, and then every week you can put in like $100 into Pulse or PulseX, and then that way you're DCing in over 6 weeks. So if it kind of goes up and then dips, and then straightens out, if it goes up after that, then you kind of got in. Maybe you paid a little bit more at the beginning, maybe a little bit more at the end, but you got in at a lower price in the middle. And then if it dips below like sacrifice price, then you still got another $600 to buy the dip, right? So then every time it goes down 10%, let's say below sacrifice price or whatever, you can start piling in like another $100, right? So you can do a double buy that week instead of just one or whatever. Or
Yeah,
maybe the dip is there, and then that way you kind of get, you save basically 20%, to buy the dips, but then you also don't miss out on the larger thing, right? It won't run away from you. So you're not going to get like the best price, but your whole bag won't get the best price, but one of the weeks you'll get the best price more or less. So
exactly. You don't have to hit a home run with every buy. It's just, I mean, if you're DCAing in during the first month, you are not late. I mean, that's it's still going to be a good long term play, I think. About this time in maybe 3 months ago, like April, May, I was really kind of looking at all this ratio trading and stuff like that. I think I'm I'm pretty much given up on that idea. I think this delay really helped me kind of think that through a little bit better. It's probably better just to wait for real value and just like you said, just slow and steady wins the race. Like we do not have to throw all your money in at the bottom. Trying to time the bottom is probably a losing man's game.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I pretty much just have Hex anyway. So, um, well, Hex, and I guess I have a little bit of spare cash on the side or whatever here and there. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just gonna buy in after it launches. I'm not gonna worry about swapping my Hex out for anything else. But I also got in on both stacks, so I'm not worried about it so much. But I still think it's just a better play just to come into the fresh money if you want to get Pulse or PulseX.
Yeah, my only regret is, I've been storing up Hex for the Pulse launch since like November, and I really wish I would have staked all of it rather than, I mean, most of it's still staked. I mean, I'm still, mostly staked. It's just I wish I would have staked it all. Like as soon as you buy, it would have been nice to stake it to not lose out on that much interest until the Pulse launch. Because I'm not going to be selling the Hex anyway. So I wish I had thought that through better. But you know, it's better late than never, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you sacrifice it for PulseX, I mean, I think that's anytime you sacrifice, I think it's going to be a good play. So I wouldn't be too disappointed in that move personally.
Exactly. I think the Pulsechain is just it's gonna be a big hit of an ecosystem, not just one coin. And so we're all gonna be better off.
Yeah, and hopefully we locked in our value, right? Kind of at the top of the market too was the other nice thing. I mean, we'll see what happens when Pulse launches.
That's a good point. Yeah.
If too many people were over leveraged or took out a mortgage thinking it would launch in like a month or 2 or 3, and then now we're like just behind, then they might have to sell. But other than that, hopefully everyone is still recognizing the value they put in and not giving it like a 80% discount, 90% discount just because the greater markets are in a discount. I mean, you could, but I think most people are still kind of holding strong, thinking that if you put in $100, then you're expecting $100 out. You're not looking for $10 out.
Exactly.
So hopefully from that standpoint, I hope that the community stays strong and doesn't just sell. So I'm sure some will, but I mean, that would be a good time to buy, I suppose.
Yep, like you said, and if you're DCAing, you're going to benefit from that lower price.
Yeah, it's like Hex. When Hex launched, I think there was some more FUD, going on with that when it launched, because nobody really knew whether it would or wouldn't work at the beginning, and it just tanked, right? People just freaked out and tanked, sold it all, right, and had like a 90% dip at the beginning.
Yeah.
But if it's got a utility, then it'll come back, right? And so it's the same thing I think with Pulsechain and PulseX is, they all have utility. As long as you have faith that they have utility, then the dip is just kind of more of a blessing than anything else, right? Because you're probably not going to be selling. You don't want to be selling right away. You want to wait a little bit of time, let it appreciate, right, before you actually need it for something, hopefully. But yeah, I like, as long as it has product market fit, it makes it a lot easier to buy the dip rather than wondering, well, is this going to go to zero or not, right? Like based in 2018 and whatnot, nobody knew, right? Was Bitcoin actually going to come back or not?
Yeah.
I mean, I jumped out. I thought it was done for quite some time, right? And I got out for too long though. But
Yeah, but still, I think it's just a matter of time. I think during these downtimes, where there's not a whole lot of things going on, not a whole lot of excitement, I should say, in the market. It kind of gives you a chance to reflect on the decisions and kind of clear your thoughts about what's going to happen ahead. Kind of, this is after all the panic sets in. People have stopped logging in to just say, "Hey, when launch, when Lambo," that kind of stuff. So, anyway, I think we all have a brighter future, and hopefully within a year or so. But I'm not holding my breath anymore. I think we're all going to be fine. Just gotta have patience and wait. It will be ready when it's ready. But I've got to go feed my kids, so I got to let you go, man. It was nice talking with you.
yep, yeah. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, PulseX, is your link safe to click, or is this a risky one?
What did you say, Toby?
I said, is your tiny URL safe to click, or is that a risky click?
Oh, it's the Google sheet for the sacrifice for, I don't know if it's for Pulse or PulseX. I forget which one's even in there.
PulseX, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not really the best look, putting a link in the bio. Tell people not to click on random links, right? So.
And if it was a bad link, he probably wouldn't tell you, right? It wouldn't be much point in asking.
Fine, just click on it. It's all good.
Hey, Profix, I got a question for you, man. I got actually a couple questions for you. I've seen you in the chat before. I'll start maybe with a somewhat easier one. So for folks that are claiming their testnet tokens, I noticed that the volume bonus isn't included in what you're claiming. Is that normal?
The volume bonus may or may not be included depending on circumstances. Basically, so that's somewhat normal. Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't see it get claimed for me for both Pulse and PulseX. So I see it in the sacrifice balance. I just wasn't able to claim it for whatever reason.
Yeah, when they launched the testnet V2B, they had certain numbers in there, and then the sacrifice checker came up after the fact, and then that was kind of the first look that everybody had at it, and there was a number of issues with it, with the calculations, right? Depending on, like I said, depending on what it was. Yeah, like the donations to sends, if you did like fiat, were messed up because there wasn't really a good timestamp on it, right? Because it wasn't logged into the blockchain. So those were all off by like a day. So if you sacrificed on the 17th day, right, which you're supposed to get that bonus, the 1.75 flat bonus, then you missed that, and it was basically like you did it on the 16th, right? So that was kind of messed up. There was some Tron stuff that was messed up, and I forget what else. There was a whole bunch of different things that were just calculated wrong or missing, So, but yeah,
but nothing to worry about, right? I mean, we'll see it on the main net, right? I mean, that's kind of pretty much what I'm just, I guess, trying to check on. I mean, it's not a big deal that you're not seeing it on the test net, but it shouldn't be a problem as far as whatever you're going to get in terms of the main net. You're going to be getting, what you obviously sacrificed for, and the volume bonus should come through as well for the main net.
Yeah. Whatever's on the sacrifice checker website now should be the latest numbers that they're going to use for the mainnet. I haven't actually checked mine in probably 2 months now. I probably should, just to make sure they didn't go backwards. But yeah, whatever's there is what they're going to launch. So they have a much better understanding of kind of the rules and then how to identify certain tokens, because some of them on different chains were hard to get to, and they're even actually, I think the latest thing was now that they're getting the ones on, if you sacrifice from an exchange, from Binance or Coinbase, that you can basically use an API key to prove that it was you, and then you can move those the receiving wallet to your MetaMask wallet, or to your hardware wallet, I should say.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty nifty tool that they implemented for folks that sacrifice from exchange. I mean, I'm fortunate that I didn't have to deal with that headache, but good on them for putting that in place. One thing I noticed right now is, you mentioned testnet V2B. I actually noticed on chainlist.org, all the Pulse, testnets were there. Different blockchain versions were there, the iterations. It's not showing any of them now, all of a sudden, and I checked like maybe a couple of days ago, so you can't see the test nets, but what you can see is the main net. And I did see the main net as well a couple of days or so ago when I checked, along with the test net, but now you don't see the test net, you only see the main net.
There might be a checkbox for the test net.
Oh, actually, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, for some reason that was toggled off. Okay, yeah, good catch. Well, the only reason why I mentioned that was because is it V2B or is it V3 now? Because on the Pulse website, I only see V2B. I don't see V3, but testnet chainlist.org does show V3.
They're the same thing. So the chain ID is the same, and all the info that it's going to put in are basically identical. It'll be whatever testnet is at the moment. Actually, if you click add to MetaMask, it'll just connect you to Pulsechain testnet.
The chain ID is different. I don't know enough to know if it matters or not, but the chain ID is different. One of the V2B is 941, V3 is 942.
Yeah, it is actually different. 1 and 2 were the same, which caused a bunch of trouble with the node validators. When they were trying to sync, they kept on syncing to like V1 instead of V2 when they tried starting up V2. So they got a little bit smarter, and use another one for V2B, and they have another one for V3, but V3 hasn't been made public yet. Like the devs probably have V3 running in the background that they can get to, right? But it's not public yet.
So correction, the chain list visual, I'll call it visual, visual ID is incorrect, the one that they're showing, because when you click on it, it actually connects to 941. So they just haven't updated their front end when they connect you.
Interesting. I mean, I haven't connected my wallet to Chainlist. I just pulled it up really quickly just to see that.
I mean, Chainlist is a third party, so I anyways wouldn't like put all my money on them being right all the time. They do a good job of keeping track of everything, but not that much. Obviously, if you just type exclamation point testnet in chat, you'll get better info.
Right. Well, I got another question for you, PulseX. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to agree with Toby there for the most part. Yeah, when they added the V2B, they added the info for V3 at the same time. And they actually had mainnet back last September, right? Just for context, I guess. So it's nothing new. A lot of people see it for the first time, and they're like, "Oh my god, does that mean mainnet's coming?" It's like, no.
Yeah, it's
mainnet's
funny.
been
I
there
don't
since
recall
September.
seeing mainnet before. I mean, I probably just totally overlooked it, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it came out with V1 like the exact same time.
Did you activate the, what do you call it, this little slider on Chainlist that includes testnets?
Yeah, that was my bad. I did that now. That's why I was wondering. I'm like, man, what the hell happened to the testnets? Because I could see them until a couple of days ago. So yeah, no, I see that now. I just overlooked it a couple of minutes ago. But yeah, thanks. But yeah, Profix, I was gonna ask you actually about something else as well. So you were talking with the other guy about profits and stuff. I mean, and I've been doing a lot of reflecting. I mean, not a whole lot going on, like you guys said. Just thinking back, about the months leading up to where we are now and stuff, and trying to hopefully not make some of the same mistakes that I made. And one of which I think maybe a lot of people can relate to this is not taking enough profits. But at the same time, you also want to maximize, your bag and your holdings and stuff. So I guess it's all about balance, right? No one knows. You hold long enough, something's going to do 100,000x. But I guess, from your perspective, and it's going to be different for everyone. So it's certainly not financial advice. I'm just curious to hear what you have to say. At what point do you think it's maybe worthwhile to start scaling out, in your opinion? Like, would you maybe start trickling out at 100, at 500, at 1,000? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, now that kind of the bear market's here, and we knew it was coming too, right? Like earlier this year, we pretty much knew it was coming. And so the question is, yeah, why didn't we just, cash out a little bit, more? I know I, have the same kind of thought process, right? Because, yeah, I could have cashed out and, basically paid for at least half a house or something, right? With some of the profits or whatever. Instead of, buying more at the top, more or less. So yeah, I think you just need to control it some more, right? Or just have an eye on it and just, realize that you need to take profits every once in a while. Especially if you have, something that you need to put it into, right? If you're buying a car.
Well, maybe more specifically. And again, I'm not trying to, put you on the spot or anything. I mean, obviously this is all high level. I'm just curious to hear, because I know you're a pretty hands-on guy. You're pretty into the weeds. And that's not what I'm looking to get into like right now. I'm just kind of curious, like, have you given any thought at all? Are you thinking maybe, hey, at 100x, like, do you have any targets at all in mind? You're like, okay, maybe I'm going to take some out like at 100. Maybe I'm going to take some out at 500 for Pulse or PulseX.
I mean, I haven't really thought it through just yet. I'll probably think it through once it's out. right? Because I don't expect it to go like 100x right out the gate, right? So I think we'll have some time there. But I think, what did I ride? I mean, it was staked too. Like most of it was staked or whatever. So there's that as well for Hex at least. But you know, I could have got out at a 60x, which would have been fantastic, right? But for the most part, I just held on, right, for the ride. So that was kind of a missed opportunity if you look back on it. But yeah, at some point you need to take out what you put in, right? At least, and then after that, it's kind of free money.
I think, yeah, just really quick on that front. I mean, I think what you put in, I would expect, or rather maybe assume, that we would be able to take that out very, very quickly. Maybe even the first day. Not that I'm saying we should do that, or you should do that, or anyone should do that. What I'm saying is, I think that is a very easy and achievable target very soon.
Define
In my
out,
opinion.
because you may only be able to just do some swaps the first day.
I
Well, I mean,
assume he
think
means
about this.
after the bridge comes up, right?
I mean, one thing. Like, think about this. If it's a 10x, you take out your principal, but you're taking out 10% of your stack. Like literally, like, do you really want to take out 10% of your stack? So if you're going to
No,
do
again,
that,
I'm
what are you
not
looking for?
saying.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, as far as at least, taking out your original investment. Well, all I'm saying is that I think that's a possibility if you're looking to do that. If that's a possibility, that's very possible of happening, like, very quickly. This is all I'm saying.
Yeah. The
And
only
then
problem I have
This
with
is
what you're
why
saying
you said it
is it's a
yourself in the
trader's
beginning. It's
mentality.
very individual. It's very individual. Like, if I'm just looking to get my money back, I can do that. But then I'm gonna suffer heavily, and I shouldn't have sacrificed in the first place, in my very own opinion. So, only once it's becoming a very insignificant percentage share will I take cost out.
You have to, like, there's a a rule or whatever. A lot of traders, what they'll do is if it doubles, they'll take half out or something like that, right? But the people who do that are just going to make these incremental kind of gains, right? Like, okay, you got $100, it doubles, you take half out. You're left with $100 in, but you cashed out, so everything's free, right? And then it goes up from there. But if it goes up 1,000x, right? Well, you took out half at the beginning, so for you don't get 1,000x, you get 500x, right? You get half as much, right? And if you keep on doing that over and over again, right? Every time it doubles, you take half out. Well, then at the end of the day, you're taking out $100 every time it doubles, let's say, right? So you get, let's say it doubles, I don't know, let's say it doubles, 5 times, right? Well, at the end of the day, you're going to have $500 out, right? But 2 to the 5th is, I'm going to say 32, I believe, right? So you could have had, $3,200, right? $3,200 instead of $500, right? Or yeah. So it's like, well, what do you want? Do you want the big numbers, or do you just want to play it safe?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a trader's mentality, and it's protecting the downside, but you're not getting the upside as much. So you have to, like, understand: are you in the short game or are you in the long game? Do you really believe in what's going to happen over the long term, or are you just going to be in and out and then wash your hands?
And maybe, again, I'm not advocating for one or the other necessarily. And maybe, again, everyone's going to have a different risk appetite, approach, strategy, fill in the blank. Maybe, in a way, though, the right one is a little bit of all the above, because you never really know, right? You never really know how long it's going to take, when you're going to have that opportunity. And yeah, we can all wait, or at least some of us can wait. Maybe some of us can't. But the question is then, how long are you waiting? And then what's the opportunity cost of you waiting? You could have bought a house, you could have bought more dips, you could have whatever it is for you, So I don't know. It's just, looking back, I mean, again, hindsight's 2020, but I think maybe some of us, or at least myself, I'm kicking myself in the ass for, not doing what I could have to, take advantage of this.
I mean, you were looking for strategies, so here's mine. I'll share it with you. hold until the top of the next bear market, the next bull market, which is 3 to 4 years from now. If you got to take some money off the top for some reason, then go ahead and do that and be smart about it. But the majority of your money should literally be in Pulse and PulseX until the next bull market tops out in 3 or 4 years. If you want to like make the maximum amount of gains you can.
Well, let me ask this. I mean, how long has HEX been out now? Like, I think, I don't know the official date, but on CoinMarketCap, I think it shows like December 2019. Is that accurate?
More than
December
2.5
3rd,
years.
2019.
Okay. So let me ask this question. In the same amount of time, so as of today, from December 3rd or whatever, 2019 to July 25th, 2022, would you guys or worse in the same amount of time in terms of expecting it to do better or worse than HEX?
I didn't get all of that. Did anyone else?
No, he cut out.
So I was basically saying in the same amount of time frame that HEX has been live for, right, which is from December 2019 through July 2022, for the same amount of time, which is about 2.5 years or so, would you expect Pulse to do better or worse than HEX, and why?
That's a good question. I would actually tend to say better in terms of adoption, as in maybe number of users, because HEX was heavily gatekept. Maybe Pulsechain will be too, even though I doubt it. But whether or not it will pump at the same rate or faster or slower, I can't actually say, because HEX is designed very differently.
Well, no one can say. I mean, it's just this is pure speculation. So I mean, I'm just
That's a
curious.
good question.
Yeah.
I think it will have more energy in a way, like more activity, but that doesn't always necessarily translate to price going up at the same rate as, for example, HEX did.
Yeah, I mean, because the
think it might
tokenomics
have-
are
Go ahead.
because the tokenomics are so different. You don't have the people who are forced to hold like in HEX staking. It was heavily gate kept, so there's a few people that got in. They were majority of them staked, so they were locked in their positions. New people came in, people bought, it pumped up. I mean, I'm not like not the FUD PulseX and ruin people's dreams, but I don't expect a 10,000x in like 2 years with PulseX. I think it's going to do fantastic, but I think like those numbers aren't realistic for me, my opinion, right? Maybe
So just really quickly,
maybe
let me just ask-
target something more realistic.
So you're saying, and I'm not trying to, ding you for anything. I'm just asking. Are you saying like if it were to launch today, like because the time that it launches matters, right? So are you catching 2 years, 2.5 years or so from now? Are you catching 2.5 years from next year? So are you saying just in general, like it's not going to do the 10,000 or whatever, like some as good of an amount or even more of an amount if it were to launch today plus 2.5 years? Or are you just saying in general, in a 2-year time frame?
I mean, I just don't expect it to do a 10,000x. It doesn't have the same tokenomics. There's going to be people who are going to sell a lot more early. That's going to drive price down as people buy on the other end. There's a lot more people who got in early, unlike HEX, who there's an incredibly small amount of people who got in early, right, which drove the price down. Like the 32, 33 day adoption amplifier had like 300 Ethereum in it, right, which is the bottom of like the chart, basically 32 days in. FUD out the wazoo everywhere. Like, I mean, I just don't see. I don't see it dipping as much as people hope, and I don't think it's gonna rise to the lofty heights of 100,000x or some crazy number people have thrown out there. Like, is 1,000x not good enough for people? I mean, seriously, right? Let's live in reality over here.
Well, it's not about, yeah, I don't think it's about what's good enough or not good enough. I think the question more so is, what do you speculate or what do you think, could happen in about 2.5 years? Yeah, you wait 100 years, it's gonna 50 years, whatever, it's gonna do 100,000x. But I guess the question is just, and
yeah, I mean, it's okay. So the average L1 after 14 months has been about 600x. Can PulseX do 600x in a year and a half, 2 years, or whatever? Yeah, probably. Sure, that seems realistic, like within the realm of possibility.
So moving a little bit away from the crystal ball thing, which I think doesn't really lead anywhere, you can go look at other stuff that has existed, such as Ethereum, since it is not going to be that wildly different. I mean, it'll have some different tokenomics, like the fee burn and so on. But look at that, and then take a cut of that and say, well, even if it does only a tenth or an eighth of whatever Ethereum did in the first, what was it, 2.5 years? You said. Go from there.
Yeah. Basically, from December 2019, Hex's launch to like now, which is about 2 years and 7 months, I guess, give or take.
Yeah, let's take a look. I mean, Ethereum did.
I mean,
I don't know if I have the exact launch date, but since it's in 2014, but what I have on TradingView anyway is 2 years, 2016. Okay, that's shitty. I would like an earlier one. But anyways, I think it did like what, 200,000% or something. So obviously we're not gonna have the same. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. Did someone look at the total wallet addresses, active ones in the first 2 years? I can't be bothered right now. But there's a lot of data to go off. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, what I base my opinion off of is, you look at the initial group of people who entered these, like Ethereum's IPO was $5 million in like 2014. It launched a year and a half later, right? Like very few people, not as much economic energy put into the project initially, right? We're farther in to crypto, right? We're like 14 years in or whatever the number is. Pulsechain has 100,000 people, has X amount of dollars of economic energy that was sacrificed, which plays a part. How much of a part does it take? Does that play in the psychology of people that are in the market, right? I mean, so because the number of people who entered the sacrifice phase is going to be larger than, say, like some of these L1s, like Ethereum or Hex when it launched. The initial amount of economic energy put into the project is a lot less. Then I basically just do some simple math, and I come up with kind of a ballpark estimate internally for my own thinking that says, okay, this is like a conservative number is like this amount, right? And my conservative number is not 10,000x. That's like pie in the sky, like moon boy shit, right?
Right.
So you need to think about what let's do some math, or let's like look at the market, let's look at the actual metrics we have available to us, and then let's like do some analysis and some logic.
Yeah, and I haven't done a comparison between like as far as layer ones are concerned. I did look at dexes to try and figure out like a number for PulseX, and I mean we all know dexes don't tend to do very well. But then again, I think it depends on maybe adoption and launch price and a lot of other things and fill in the blanks and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I did do it for PulseX. I haven't still done that for Pulse.
I can recommend you a method. I mean, I don't know if it's foolproof because I just thought of it, but Google Ethereum active addresses, historical chart, and it's going to give you, well, you can see for the first 2.5 years how many active addresses there were. Of course, you have to bake in a bunch of assumptions, right? That Pulsechain will have the same amount or same activity, which I would beg to differ. I think it'll just have a head start compared to Ethereum back then, obviously, because it had a bit of a dead zone for the first couple of months where nobody used it or very few people did. I don't think that will be the case with Pulsechain. So, you know, you got to remove or add a lot of noise, but just assuming the number of addresses, active ones, obviously you don't know the economic energy coming with it, blah, blah, blah. And then compare it to the price. You can gauge a lot of stuff using that. Whether or not that will come true is, of course, just as much as a crystal ball, but it's more to go off than just randomly guessing.
Why do you, or what makes you say we're not going to have that dead zone in a way for Pulse? I mean,
Well,
we're
that's
not going to
easy.
get.
Looking at, I don't remember the total number of addresses that sacrificed, but you know,
40,000. Yeah, 40,000 for Pulse and 140,000 for PulseX.
Yeah, so that's easily a 1 year head start already, theoretically, compared to just Ethereum in the first 1.5 years. Because I think in the first year it had like not even 20K addresses. Again, I'm not saying that number of addresses, active addresses, equates to economic energy. I know, but it's the best metric to go off, I guess.
And just in terms of lingo, PulseX, I think you were going to say something, but I just got a quick question. So just in terms of lingo, so I understand, what do you guys mean when you say economic energy?
Well, just the number of addresses doesn't mean the number in terms of actual money that went in, right? If everyone just put in $1, then the number of addresses is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so at the end of the day, there's a little over 79,000 addresses that sacrificed for Pulsechain, right? If you count everything that went to that address, I think you're right. Like 40 went to the official phase, but like it basically doubled by the time it all ended in by the time it ended in April or whatever, or
yeah, and I got that number. I actually didn't bet that number myself, but for anyone who's wondering where I got that number, I mean, you can probably find it yourself. But I got it from Cryptographics. I saw a video of his recently, and he dropped those stats.
Yeah, so there's a little over 79,000 sacrifices for Pulsechain in total. There's 140, just under 148,000, 147,000 the sacrifice for PulseX, and then when you combine them together, it was just over 200,000 addresses, unique addresses combined, right? Because some of them are shared between, some of them sacrificed for both, and some only sacrificed like one address to each type thing, right? Possibly, like I separated my addresses, right? So you won't find my sacrifices, being joined on there. They're all different addresses. But yeah, there's 200.
To put that into perspective, a little over 700,000 active Ethereum addresses at the moment. I think the highest was a bit over 1 million.
So what's your?
If you want to go wild with that data, which I mean, it's better than crystal ball stuff. You can just say, well, I'll extrapolate the number of addresses onto the price of Ethereum, but it's obviously not going to work that way. But it looks like then like a quarter. That I mean, take the percentage, not the actual sum of Ethereum price, obviously, because the supply is very different. But if you want to take the percentage increase from day one to 2.5 years later, and then just take a quarter off it, then you'll be left with what? I have to do some math.
And I don't know if you have it in front of you or not. So how much would that be?
I think it was I'm still trying to figure out because the chart that I have doesn't have 2015 data, but whatever. So it went up 200,000x or something, 200,000%. Sorry. So what is a quarter of that? 50,000.
So wait, what was it again? You said For how long and how much was it? Since when?
Since we're all looking at 2.5 years, and how high it went in that time frame, Ethereum, I mean, I'm looking. Well, again, this chart is weird. Doesn't have a lot of historical data before 2016, but it says 203,891%. So just take a quarter of that, and then you may have a potential where Pulsechain can go. But again, I would add in a lot of more nuance into this. This is just like out of the top of my head.
Yeah, and even I'd say a quarter of that is very generous. I mean, it's almost like, and I don't know if this is the right way of looking at this or not, but it's almost like holding it to the S&P, almost like 500 benchmark kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
yeah, I don't know.
You're assuming, like, we're obviously making a lot of assumptions, but again, I think it's better
Right.
to make assumptions based on data than to just do straight up crystal ball moon math.
And
it's
then
kinda
here's another methodology you can do. It's like, obviously they're all flawed. Everything we're talking about is flawed, but like you can just take you can guess at what a circulating supply is, which is basically taking out the OA coins. You could guess at a starting price based on sacrifices if you want to do that, right? The number out there was 0017 is like an average, or where the numbers end up bunch. You also compare that to L1s at the last bull market. What's the market cap, right? And then say that's like $100 billion. And now you have like a number that's like a reasonable kind of in the reality of the world number to shoot for at the next bull market and say, well, comparable to other L1s that have already existed that have like a fake market cap number, our fake market cap number could be similar to that. And if we use these assumptions, like take the OA coins out, have a circulating supply, what's the price of Pulse going to be at that magic number that we just pulled out our ass, right? And then you get like another number that doesn't really mean anything, but gives you kind of a reality of like the possible.
You know what? I actually will take back my this chart that I was talking about. The Ethereum active addresses historical chart is per day. So these are per day active addresses, and we're comparing it to total addresses on Pulsechain, which doesn't make sense. We don't have that data yet, so.
Because
to find the
because
cumulative addresses of Ethereum. I don't have it. I can't find that chart.
yeah, Toby, because like the non-active addresses would supposedly be holders, and if you're a holder, then you're not suppressing the price, so it's probably you're holding up the price, so that's actually a good thing. So it's like, how do you query and how do you break down the metrics? That makes sense. I would think active addresses, like addresses with Pulsechain or PulseX that don't do anything, are positive for price, not negative. So you kind of have to factor that in.
Well, I think that depends how they define active. So most of the time it's what was it, non-zero balance addresses, unless I'm getting the definition wrong. That's always the
I think active addresses means you did a transaction in the last 24 hours, kind of a situation. Like you sent something, you did a DEX, whatever. It's an actually like active, like actually did something on the network. It's a way to measure active users.
That's the thing. Depending where you go, you'll have a different definition. Because in the last couple of sites that I use, active addresses was defined as non-zero balance addresses. But indeed, it is misleading. But these guys don't even have a definition. So
yeah,
if you find
if you go to Glassnode has some really great
cumulative
metrics.
addresses for Ethereum, let me know because I would love to see that.
No, I was saying Glassnode has a really good breakdown of metrics for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So they actually have like active addresses with X amount of coins, blah 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 blah, and they actually have some of that metrics built into their site.
The studio, let me see.
And there's another one called Quaint something. There's another one like Glassnode that has something like, you know what I mean. I'm not on my computer, so I can't find a chart. But there's a website called Quaint something that does the coin metrics, just like Glassnode, and then Glassnode are the two that I've used to like pull data, like, you know, this type of data from the blockchain.
Well, the definition on Glassnode is also not. It's also a bit arbitrary. Says number of unique addresses that were active in the network, either as a sender or receiver. Only addresses that were active in successful transactions are counted. But does this mean all time or on that day for which it has data?
On that day. That's where I get my definition from, because that's the site that I use. Active addresses
So
technically that day.
Technically, one of my wallets, anyways, would not be counted for like at least probably 2 years as an active address, even though I'm very much an active participant in Ethereum. By that definition, anyway. This is why
That's
I
why they
kind of
have
a little bit want to focus on non-zero balance addresses rather than active, because activity as in daily transactions does not really tell us much about price or
at least on the Bitcoin side. I don't know about the Ethereum side, but Bitcoin on Glassnode, they have charts that talk about like the how old a coin is, like meaning that it's sit in the address for how many like days. And there's a bunch of charts that talk about like that factor in holding periods, where like they count it, but it's not, because it's just holding, it's just sitting there doing nothing. But that's on the Bitcoin side, not on the Ethereum side. So I don't know about if Ethereum has that too.
So Glassnode has an address with non-zero balance chart, but of course that was a paid plan, which I don't have at the moment.
Yeah, there's the T2 is like $500 or something. I can help you out, but mine actually like expired a few months ago, and I haven't decided whether or not I'm gonna renew it because I don't really use that data. So it's kind of like $500 wasted.
Bro. Got on here.
So I got a couple of other questions real quick. One is a bit more technical, and one I'm just kind of curious about, Pulse long term. But so since Pulse is a fork of Ethereum, does that mean, any updates, upgrades that are made to Ethereum over time in the next 1 year, 2 years, whatever, and then Pulse is live, that Pulse is going to be integrating those Ethereum upgrades?
Once it's live? No. Before, it may have to.
Before, yes. Because we have to stay synced up with the network. At the fork, then it's up to us whether or not we integrate Geth changes into Pulsechain. But because ETH 2.0 is going to be happening, the changes that are happening on ETH 2.0 are going to branch off from our map. So it's up to the devs whether or not it's like relevant changes or not to our network.
Got it. So, and the reason why I ask is because I guess maybe that kind of leads up to at least my next question. So, obviously, the goal right now is to, get Pulse up and running. But what's the plan, I guess, kind of long term? Like, I don't know if I want to call it a roadmap necessarily, but what are the long term goals, I guess, for Pulse? Obviously, adoption is a big one for any chain, but
the long-term goal to be live and to like not go down like Solana. I mean, we can't have long-term goals until like the network functions. So I don't think very many people are talking about like what's the 5-year plan, because we literally are just like everybody's losing their fucking minds because this thing hasn't even launched yet.
Right now, I'll explain it very simply. Right now, we're trying to fix 1 or 2 very specific issues with Ethereum. And once those are fixed, as far as we're concerned, it's solved. But obviously, we're assuming there won't be any new ones. Maybe it's not enough scaling. I doubt it. I think it should be plenty, but maybe it's going to go so insane that we'll have to improve upon it even further. And I do think there's room for improvement always, right? So there will be, I guess, maybe the Pulsechain equivalent of EIPs going forward, but I don't think we know.
Yeah, and that's kind of I guess what I'm trying to understand. And maybe the question is a bit premature, but you kind of look around a little bit and you're starting to see, at least based on this snapshot in time, if there's an argument to be made like, hey, this chain, for example, fill in the blank, looks like it's going to be more for NFTs. This chain seems to be more like it's going to be for DeFi, so on and so forth. Like some of them seem to be taking that kind of mold. Of course, anything can always come and disrupt it, but based on this point in time.
Parts, I mean, we know for a fact from Richard anyway that he's not trying to attack the specific niche. He's literally trying to make Ethereum better, or well, complement Ethereum. So Ethereum is very versatile, even though it is mainly used for NFTs at the moment. I would say there's plenty of other stuff happening on there as well, but there could be so much more happening on it if microtransactions were a thing, or could even be a thing. But they can't at the moment. That's stifling a lot of projects.
One of the other things is one of the big things to look at is, Ethereum is trying to do sharding, right? Pulsechain is kind of like a shard, because it increases the capacity, right, of the network, and the networks more or less work the same way, other than some of the details. So that mostly, anything that works on Ethereum can work on Pulsechain if the infrastructure is set up for it. But if Ethereum is looking towards sharding to increase capacity, that's one improvement that Pulsechain can also do very easily, right? Once Ethereum figures that out, we can basically just copy whatever they did and do the same thing, and we can increase the capacity of Pulsechain if we need to. And so that's one of the big updates I think that they would be looking towards.
Yeah, and that's good to know, and that's exactly why I asked that question. Previously, is that how does that work? Between Ethereum and Pulse. So it's good to know that we can bring those updates into Pulse as well. But then I guess by that point, let's say if you're trying to make the case for Pulse versus Ethereum, and who knows what's going to happen between now and then. So much can change in terms of gas fees and stuff. But I guess I'm just trying to think from the outside, what is the case then? Because let's say, Ethereum has its 100,000 transactions per second, has its sharding. So then what is the case to make maybe in a way for Pulse?
Wait, okay, now define when you think 100,000 transactions a second is actually going to happen. That's literally 10, 20 years from now.
$1 trillion.
Okay. That's at the end of the phase of like the 5th phase of Ethereum is 100,000. That's what Vitalik said on his stage 3 days ago, right? Pulsechain, when it launches, what is it? 10 times the capacity of Ethereum. So there's a big bucket to fill.
Is it though?
Right.
I don't know.
The block size is what, 30 to 40 million. So that's a 30% increase. And then from 12 seconds to
3 second block.
It's another 4x. That's just a starting point too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just threw the number out there because we will know, I guess, when it's live. But like, what, 8, 10 times? Like, just throw the number out there, like base capacity increase with Pulsechain. with 33 validators, with system improvements along the way. I mean, us scaling is like we have a huge bucket to fill as a new chain before we even need to worry about this. And Ethereum is working the ETH2 roadmap, but the merge doesn't fix gas fees, doesn't make the network faster. Sharding adds capacity, but that's 5 years away. Helps with fees a little bit. Then the purge, which is decreases the memory consumption, hard disk space and all this stuff for the overall network. And then the other couple of phases is like kind of tidying up and making it like function so that the wallet, if you use a contract in a layer 2, then you can use that same wallet seamlessly with an L1 shard, or you can like move around easily, and that's like 20 years out, basically. I don't know, 10, 20 years, whatever. Right? Pulsechain will exist along that spectrum too, but have a different topology, a different network structure. Like how are we scaling it in parallel with Ethereum as a separate chain? Right? I don't even consider ETH 2.0 to be like a problem for Pulsechain, because Pulsechain is kind of just exists over here, whether or not it has full blocks or not. Right? It's not a problem for me. I can love both of them equally because I'll use both of them.
It's going to be great when ETH 2.0 or whatever, when the merge happens, and then people realize that it's no cheaper to transact on Ethereum.
Oh yeah, what's the percentage of people who think? Right, Profex. Like, what's the percentage of people who think the merge is going to help fees and make it faster? Like fucking like almost everybody you talk to.
Yeah, probably like at least 60 to 80% of people who, haven't been informed otherwise.
There's majority of people don't even know that it's not ETH2 even anymore. It's just a consensus layer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just renamed, but that shows.
Giving up that fight.
Well, what's weird is I don't know what the genesis of the name like merge is. Why didn't they call it like consensus or something? I mean, to me, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I know that proof of it's changing its consensus mechanism, but
on the different Ethereum phases, improvement phases towards, well, it used to be called ETH2, whatever the fuck it's called now. That breaks it down without going into the weeds. It's pretty nice.
No, I mean we'll all go into the weeds a little bit. So the consensus layer, which is Beacon Chain, which is running right now, the merge is technically just attaching the Beacon Chain to the current L1 like Geth node and like all these other 90% of the Ethereum network is Geth. So the current L1 full node that we all know and love, right now the blocks are produced by the miners. The merge, in quotation marks, is simply attaching the Beacon Chain with the validators to the current full node, network, and that's called the execution layer, and they're just merging them together and kind of kicking the miners out. It doesn't change the full nodes. It just attaches the Beacon Chain with validators to the current full node Ethereum. When most people don't like understand, and they get confused.
That's why I said you read the one pager. It's it's literally by the Ethereum Foundation. I think it's pretty straightforward. Try to find it.
Yeah, I don't totally understand what's going on. But when people think of the merge, they think that the current Ethereum 1 network is somehow being like copied to the Beacon Chain, which isn't the case. They're going to be running tandem because the current L1 full node is going to be the basis for the shards, because the Beacon Chain as a consensus layer will eventually attach to 64 shards, which will be replicated networks of like the current L1, which is the execution layer. So they're going to like replicate 63 more chains, and then they're going to shard it, like break it up into pieces, and then distribute it across a bunch of little mini layers, a bunch of mini execution environments, all controlled by the consensus layer, which is the beacon chain. And this is all like 5 years out before that like becomes a thing. 3 to 5 years is what they say. It's very it's gonna take forever.
But it's also, again, the entire argument of Pulsechain needing to have a unique selling point. I mean, I agree with it, sort of. But even if it didn't, if it can take load of Ethereum, that's great already. Like even if it was just hexagons for the first 1-2 years, I would be fine because that means good news for me personally. But of course, it would not solve, anyone else's problems. So I hope for the rest that there will be more adoption than just those guys. But
Hey,
there
buddy,
doesn't
can I
need
ask you
to
a
be
question?
this inherent competition that everyone thinks is going to happen. Like they can perfectly exist in harmony.
Can I ask you a question, bro?
Go for it.
Have you heard about the last update of the mainnet, the 2.5b version on
Or
the
mainnet?
testnet?
What update are you talking about? The last update was 3 months ago. Code client update was 3 months ago, 081. So
There is
you have to elaborate on what you're talking about.
there is no updates on the testnet today.
Not to my knowledge.
They're waiting for Richard to tell us updates. The devs are working in their private repositories.
I heard about 2.5b. And maybe it's wrong.
Yeah.
We check it.
No, that's been out since March. I run it. There has been no update, code update for 3 months because the devs are working on, like version 3 or whatever.
Is not live yet for us?
No, it's been live since March, man. It's been live since March.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use it. You've been able to use it since March. Just ask in chat. You can get directed to all links.
So do you think before mainnet we will have another update on the testnet, a new version or no?
They said we won't, but who knows at this point. The only thing I can say is I don't know. There will definitely be a V3, but whether or not that is released before or after mainnet, unknown.
But you know better than me about softwares and everything. Did you expect this tremendous delay on Pulse or no? Is a year waiting from the sacrifice already?
Well, I mean, I, like you and everybody, expected it to be released in mid-May per Richard. And then they figured out a problem that they need to solve. And so now we're a few months into them solving that problem of the validator rotation, moving code from inside the system contracts, porting it to Golang inside the EVM, and solving a potential DDoS attack to make sure that doesn't happen, because system transactions are costless and we don't need an attacker to spam up our blocks with system transactions inside the EVM. I'm sorry if that's over your head, but I'm just saying they're working on a problem and they are fixing the problem, and then we're going to launch. It takes how long it takes. I wish we were launched already too, unfortunately.
Of course, you didn't expect it, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised that there's delays. There's very few software projects that I've experienced that didn't have delays, and I know very little about blockchain, but last I checked, it's a relatively new technology or new thing that not so many developers exist, or at least not so much experience exists in. So there's bound to be issues.
I see, I see. How many developers are working on Ethereum at the moment? Do you know?
On Ethereum
We
or
have
Pulsechain?
14 apparently.
On Pulse, there is 14 at least. There are 14.
Yes, on
Uh,
Geth
uh,
there was like 4 or 5 in the Geth full node.
are you
And then
kidding me?
and then
It's
up,
only it's
and
only 5 developers on Ethereum? Really?
no, those are the Geth like developers for Geth the client. There's hundreds of thousands of developers on contracts, the Solidity. Those aren't blockchain developers. Those are contract developers, which are very different.
No, no. I'm talking about the blockchain developers. How many officially are on Ethereum?
Oh, I mean, there's more than 5, of course, because there's the Linux, there's the Ethereum Foundation. There's all the people working on ETH 2.0, so you can count those, and then Geth. I mean, so there's a lot. I mean, there's dozens, hundreds, maybe.
Are you a developer?
You also have to take into account active versus total. I mean, there have been probably several dozens of them working on it, but not all the time. It's like asking like how many wallet addresses are there on Ethereum versus how many actually have balance or how many are actually transacting, right? Same difference. How do you answer that question? So I would say on average, the active amount is like what, 47 guys who are really truly putting in a lot of the core work, but I guess there could be more.
Okay, okay, I got it.
Hey, I just noticed that there's a premiere on Rich's channel about some 15 ways to save the world or something like that. I don't know.
Some new book.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because he, in the Hex news, wherever he says it's not sci-fi, right? He's like, no, it's a new book. It's not the old one.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't read any of his sci-fi stuff or this book either, but it'd be good.
Yeah, Richard is a genius, bro.
He certainly is a genius in this space, and well, you could argue also in marketing, even though you're gonna get a lot of mixed opinions about that. Yeah.
I think Richard saved Pulse without launching it on May. He saved all of us. So it could be a complete disaster. So
I would
that's
argue that he did not plan that move, but yes, sure. Let's just believe that.
he's not timing the market. Pulse will launch when it's ready. Yeah, I think Bitcoin to 11K is just marketing.
It could go there, but doesn't have to. I think I don't know what's he basing it on. Maybe he did some TA, but it looks like it's literally just the same 80, what was it, 85 or 86% drop that we saw in 2018. Like if you just draw down from the local high, the last high, all-time high, down to 58%, you'll get to like 11, 12K.
Anyway, X is better than Bitcoin.
Let's say 58, 85.
People don't realize, but of course you can't compare buying Bitcoin in 2009. But if you bought, I don't know, $1,000 of BTC beginning of 2020 and $1,000 of X beginning of 2020, like you could make much more multiples with X today than X than BTC. BTC, you probably are, I don't know, depend of the time you bought, but you probably are 4x up, maybe. But my God, X, you are up a lot, much more.
Well, I did the math, and I just did the math as like if I had bought Bitcoin back when I conceivably perhaps would have known about it maybe in 2012, I've already made more money than if I had just bought X or bought Bitcoin. So I'm like, okay, so I can't do the whole opportunity cost. Oh, woe is me! I didn't buy Bitcoin back in 2012 because personally, I'm doing fine. People, you can do fine. You didn't need to go back in time to buy Bitcoin in 2011, 2012 if you are in a decent asset, which is basically the moral of the story.
I know the history of BTC, man. You could get 130,000 BTC for $100 on October 5th, 2009. I know that, so you don't have to tell me. The thing
Yeah,
is
I
that
mean, there's no way I would have known about Bitcoin in 2009. Like for me personally, I would have conceivably known about it in 2012. So that's when I based my kind of math on it. Yeah, if I bought Bitcoin on January 15th, 2009, which was, obviously impossible because it just had existed for a week or whatever.
no, but it was on Twitter, man. Everyone knew about Bitcoin. Was on Twitter already. I was one guy is dead now, but he was talking about running BTC beginning of 2009, man. Everyone knew about that shit, man. Everyone. I was young.
It was launched on January 3rd, 2009. Almost nobody knew about it,
October 5th.
right?
October 5th.
The only way I heard about it back then, well, 2009, maybe not, 2011, I think, was Silk Road. I may have even used it without knowing, but no way in hell was I gonna find out more and mine or anything at that time.
Well, I just bought X on 2020 because everyone was saying to me that was a scam. That was enough to me to buy X. So
Oh yeah, the scam days.
all the traders say to me, "Don't buy X; it's a scam." I say, "Okay, I buy it. Thank you."
Yeah, if a trader
But
tells you
the
that,
thing
then
is,
you better
the
buy.
thing is, with $1,000, you could buy, let's say, I don't know, maybe 5 million X, maybe, and those ones you could do in staking, and you probably today you probably have, I don't know, 9 million X, 10 million X. You will have probably, I don't know, $1 million, and with Bitcoin, you will probably have, if you put $1,000, you will probably have, I don't know, and probably 5 grams. So it's big difference, man. X is better.
Yeah, I mean, if I had only bought Amazon back in 1998 and then held it for when Bitcoin was launched in 2009, and then bought and just rolled it over to Ethereum in 2014, and then rolled that into Hex in 2019, fuck, I could be like a trillionaire That'd be pretty awesome.
Remember what Richard say, yeah? Remember what Richard say. Amazon drops 95% like X did in the last 8 months. And from that point was always going up. Amazon in 2000. So probably with X, you will see the same shit now. Always going up until hundreds of dollars. Because X drops like 95% maybe. From 55 cents to probably almost like 3 cents last month. It's around 95%. So now it's time to go up, baby, like Amazon in the last 22 years. Toby, people will
Well,
have
I
a
still
problem. Man. People will have a problem. Big problem. Newies in with X. Because
Do
now
not buy
X
the
is
dogging token. Do not buy the dogging token. Convicted bum cheeks have been spread apart and
okay. Oh, I'm glad there's a couple admins in here. I heard that was happening.
the thing is that you will have the Bitcoin effect. Like in a few months, people will come to this group and ask a stupid question: which X I buy, Ethereum one or the Pulse one? And the thing is that everyone, all the dum-dums that think that will be the same value, HX, they are completely wrong. You will have two different like Bitcoin has one Bitcoin Cash has a different complete value, and Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin. So it's the big dilemma coming up from probably next year, guys. Which X will be better for multiples, the Ethereum one or the Pulse one?
Pulse.
I believe short term will be Pulse, long term will be Ethereum. That is my point of view.
Maybe the other way around, actually. But yeah, because in the short term, there's not really, other than the people who maybe wanted to do a bunch of crazy ladders right away, there's not such a unique selling proposition on Pulse yet. But I think over time, it'll show.
I think
Yeah.
X in Ethereum will be the most valuable, like 10 years from now.
Yeah. That's my opinion. Also, I think. I mean, we'll see, but I think the Hex and Ethereum will have a greater price point than the Pulse and Hex on Pulse. But we'll see how it goes.
We don't have a problem because we will get the copy, so we will win whatever happens. But the problem are the newies will decide and they will get wrecked. They will buy the top on Pulse instead of buying on Ethereum. And they will lose lots of money in the future, as far as I see.
Oh, I don't think anyone's going to lose any money. I think if you own Hex on Pulse, you'll be fine in the long term.
No, they will lose. They will lose to win. They will lose to win. Like they will lose to win a lot because
you mean opportunity cost?
I
Buying Hex
believe
on Pulse
like,
versus Hex on Ethereum. Yeah,
let's say,
I don't really worry about that too much.
let's say each Ethereum, each X on Ethereum will be like $1,000, okay, and each X on Pulse will be like I don't know, $50.
Hey,
That
Bullseye,
is
you got to keep in mind the reason why Richard came up with Pulsechain, and it was because everybody's getting screwed on their fees. So you can't forget about that. You know.
Vitalik is stupid, but not too stupid, and he will fix the fees in the future. Man, he can continue his bullshit. Like,
Yeah, we talked about that too. There's no way the Ethereum fees are going to be like Pulsechain fees. Ethereum fees will never be Pulsechain fees. So we've had
Do you
that
think that
conversation for the past
Pulsechain
year.
will be always much cheaper than Ethereum, even 5 years from now?
Absolutely, Pulsechain will be
Yeah,
cheaper.
definitely.
Absolutely.
In 5 years from now, Ethereum starts to address their fees. So if it's $1,000 to do a transaction, maybe it's $100 to do a transaction. Pulsechain will be worst case, like $1. I mean, less than $1. Like, it's still cents.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Gamma,
like, there's no
we've had this
comparison.
conversation forever. Exactly. We've had this conversation
Yeah.
for the past year. So good to hear you, by the way. 100%. I agree with you.
Okay, but there is a fact. There is a fact. People will need to decide in the future which X buy in Ethereum or Pulse, and some of them will make a wrong decision. Like the same shit that happened with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, guys. We don't have memory, but then in 2017, so many people swapped all their BTC for Bitcoin Cash, and they got completely wrecked, man. People that did not price like two BTC, two Bitcoin garbage or Bitcoin Cash for one BTC, they got extraordinarily well. People that love the technology and they swap like, I don't know, 1,000 BTC for 2,000 Bitcoin Cash, that people got completely wrecked, man. It will be so much cross-chain dilemmas in the future. It will be so many people swapping their X on Ethereum to Pulse and vice versa in the next few years to get more T-shares on each chain.
Hey, Toby, how you doing, bro?
Chickinator.
That was a pretty cool conversation last night.
What? Oh yeah, almost forgot.
Dude, I went to see almost 2 o'clock LA time. Crazy.
Nice. I'm trying to find a long-term historic chart of GUI prices, or just average GUI. I'm not finding it. Most of them are all like current week.
Toby, I remember when I onboarded my niece, she sacrificed and for PulseX. And she's all, Uncle Jenkinator, why is it costing me $60 to do this? And I was like, well, that's the reason why you're invested, babe. Is because it's and she only invested a couple $100, like $60 for a gas fee. And then she kind of understood why Richard Hart came out with Pulsechain. So we think they're going from $60 to a half a penny. It's not happening.
I mean, I'm not exchanging any of my Pulse Hex for Hex on Ethereum, and I'll keep using them both and doing 15-year stakes probably on both. Although on PulseX, on Pulsechain, I can do shorter stakes, which is nice. So maybe I do long stakes on Hex on Ethereum and then shorter stakes on Pulsechain. Like, yeah, that seems reasonable. I mean, I get my copies,
that's what
so
people are
it's
saying.
fine, whatever.
Yep. I agree, Gamma. I think the longer stakes are going to be on Ethereum side, but it'll allow people that want to invest $200, $300, $400, $500 into Hex on the Pulsechain side do it for a half a penny instead of paying $50, $80, $100. So
I mean, I don't encourage people to unstake and then move to Pulsechain, but if you do, thank you, because that just gives me more Hex. If people unstake and they burn their T-shares, then that just means I get a larger percentage of the pool. Fine.
Yep.
I already know what I'm doing.
Yep. Hey, did you ever get your watch? Gamma, did you get your Omega?
No, it's like 2 months out. It's like I might get it in September.
You've
Like,
been waiting forever.
I'm waiting. It's almost as long as Pulsechain.
I know. Yep.
So I may get my watch after Pulsechain launches. We'll see.
Funny. When you get it, you gotta send me a picture of it, bro. You have to DM me a picture of it. I love to see it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm a big
it'd be
watch
great.
guy too, like you. Yeah.
I mean, my only problem is the rep keeps on sending me a marketing material, try buying more watches, but I'm kind of watched out. I think this last
Yeah.
one, and I think I'm done for a while.
Well, this one's like 40, 50 grand, no?
But yeah, it's like 50K.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and I still can't get a Rolex from an authorized dealer. If I want to get screwed by a second hand, I can get all the Rolexes I want though at a 3x markup.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking to Life is Good, my boss, yesterday about that. You got to go to an authorized dealer, otherwise you're going to get freaking hosed.
No, I bought my wife one. She got a Rolex, like one of the lady day dates, like 6 months ago. And then I
Nice.
was like, if you ever have a 18 karat gold Daytona laying around, I'll take it. You know, I mean, of course that's never gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's like impossible. So
Yeah.
maybe I will never own a Rolex, and I've just accepted that.
Did you get it for her birthday or what? Or just because?
I think I got it for her birthday last year, and then it took 6 months to come in.
Oh, gotcha.
It was the authorized dealer was the only one that I could actually order in the store, and then they put me on the list. And then when it came in, I got it, and I paid for it up front.
Yeah, you can hardly get your hands on a Rolex right now. It's awful.
No, you can't do that. You can't do the pre-order thing with them at all. They do have Rolexes in the stores now. For like almost a year, they didn't have any Rolexes even in the store for display, and now they have like 4 or 5 that are display only. No, they're not selling to you. They're just look at them.
You're in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my boss has been trying to get one for a while, and it's hard here in Southern California.
Well, they're hard to get anywhere.
In Switzerland, you may be able to, but yeah, also markups there.
Yeah, yeah. If you work through a secondhand dealer, and you find one that you trust, then you're still going to pay double the price, but it probably will be real.
You're better off spending the money going to Switzerland, going to manufacture themselves, and doing it yourself rather than trusting a dealer.
Well, I mean, the last 2 watches I've gotten Omegas, and they've had to order them from Switzerland. But then it's Omega. It's like, obviously they have a lot more supply, and they're not Rolex, so they're different, totally different company.
Hey, Gamma, do you like Breitlings at all or no?
I've heard of them. I've never owned them. So I
You gotta check 'em out.
probably
You gotta check 'em out.
maybe would look at them
Yeah,
after
when you get
this,
chance.
because I think this is my last Omega for a long time, and so there's some other ones that are might want to look at. Breitling's one of them. There's a few other ones that are good, like solid watches. But I've already got but I got an Omega for every occasion. I have the Planet Ocean Seamaster for all my water activities, and then I got this 18 karat gold Speedmaster for like the dress up, but not like leather. Then I get this new one that's like a leather strap platinum. That's I don't know more dressy or whatever. And then I got a ceramic bezel Speedmaster that's like more like camping and like shooting stuff. You know what I mean? So I got like I can pick like, oh, what activity am I doing right now? Oh, I'm going shooting. Well, I'm gonna take the ceramic one so it doesn't get scratched. Or if I'm going camping, or like right, I'm going to the pool. I'm gonna wear the Planet Ocean. You know what I mean? Options.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think we talked about it before that Omega was in a few James Bond movies, so it's kind of cool. Quantum of Silence is the
Yeah,
other one. That's what
Mhm.
watch I have. I have the Omega
Oh,
Quantum of
you
Silence.
bought that one. So
Yeah.
we got invited to the premiere that they had in my town with the Omega dealer. Invited me like with 30 other people who are like VIPs in quotation
How
marks.
cool is
And
that?
then, so I got invited to that, which was cool. And then because there's an Omega, right, that James Bond wears, that they started selling like right after the movie came out.
Nice. Yeah, I love Omega watches.
No, I've actually liked Omegas. The market material gets to you. But Michael Phelps used to be an ambassador for Omega, and when I was in college in the early 2000s, he was in a lot of the market material, and he was wearing Omega. And I was like, oh, that's an Omega. Oh, that's really nice. I'd like to own an Omega one day. So it's always in the back of my mind was like owning an Omega one day.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, they're basically as expensive as Rolexes. At least the ones, like everyone that I bought has been basically the same prices as the Rolex. Only it's a lot harder to get a
Yeah.
Rolex.
You got to send me a picture of your new one, bro, for sure.
Well, if it ever comes in 2 or 3 months, I mean, I'm sure they're waiting on Pulsechain. It's only 2 more months for this watch to get released, right?
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
like Pulsechain.
You'll probably get the same day it launches. How funny.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That would be a great day for us.
Well, that would be a pretty exciting day for me. Like, I'll be back. I'll be there next week. I have a thing going on right now. There's like a project I've been waiting for a year to launch, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Like, don't worry about it."
Hey, Gamma, you heard about that Mt. Gox deal where that Bitcoin's going to be released next month? You heard about that, right?
Oh yes, it's on the lips of everyone. Everyone
Yeah,
wonders, are they going to do a massive drop or not?
it is going to drop, bro. Are you kidding me? These people lost their money in 2014. You think they're not going to sell? I think 80% of them are going to do that. I think it's going to drop 4 or 5 grand at least. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. Like,
That
I'm
would
in
be
a
cool
holding
because
pattern anyway. I got shit going on.
exactly.
But I mean, what they'll probably do is an OTC deal. They'll probably do an over-the-counter deal for these people to sell, so it doesn't impact the markets. But I mean, who knows what they do? Maybe they just market sell.
No, bro.
That's not even possible. I mean, yeah, maybe for
Exactly.
some of them it will be.
No,
Yeah,
hold on a
if you
second.
think what you see.
Yeah, they're going to be okay. Hold on a second. So let's say in 2014, you bought a few $1,000s, say $5,000 in Bitcoin, and now that money is worth, a mil, 2, 3 mil, whatever the case may be, depending on the price they got it at. If you don't think they're taking profits after 8 years, come on, Gamma. They're going to take a
Of course,
shitload of
we
profits.
that.
Well,
Right.
the
Just
question I
more
have
like
is, how do
what
they
the
do it?
individual might have.
Why would it be over the counter? That makes no sense.
Because you can do probably much larger. Look, there's what did we say last time? 3 to 4 billion sitting in those 141k. So it's hard to figure out the actual liquidity on BTC, but the figures I'm getting from accumulated exchange numbers, which of course could be fake, is like around 1 billion. So that's barely a quarter.
I mean, if I had $1 million of Bitcoin coming to me, I knew in like 2 months, I could contact a company and then I could get an OTC deal where they would just sell. They would just buy my Bitcoin from me when I got it, and I wouldn't impact the market, and I could probably get the most money for my bang for my buck, and I would still have to pay a fee, but it'd probably be less than the market fee for selling on like Coinbase, which is pretty bad. So yeah, why wouldn't they do that if they're knowing the money's coming? If it's more than $10,000, $100,000, yeah, absolutely do an over-the-counter deal with a company. A dozen companies in New York would take that easy.
I agree. Well, it depends, right? We don't know where all these guys are sitting and where they're gonna have those OTCs done.
Well, yeah, but the same
I
companies
agree
in
that those are
Switzerland
better
and
options for them, and also the impact on the market will be slightly contained, although there could be adverse effects, right? You don't know what those guys who are buying the Bitcoin are gonna do, etc.
yeah, I'm just saying there's
They
options
might
out
as well
there,
dump
and it's
all
not
of it
like
as well.
it's like 3 billion market dump on like 2:23 p.m. on this day. Yeah, like that's not gonna happen.
That's what I was discussing with Jack and I the other day. Like, I don't think like it's gonna be crazy Judas candle kind of thing. It's gonna be like maybe like a whole freaking month of sell-offs. We don't know.
You're right. You're right.
Maybe
I
not
mean,
even all
but
of them get it immediately released at the same time. Or maybe it's more complicated than that. We don't know. I don't know
Well,
the details of this whole
actually,
deal.
we'll check this out. Just to your rebuttal on that. About 2 years ago, there was 24,000 Bitcoins released. I talked to Crypto Goose. I'm sure you know who that is, and he confirmed that.
Yeah.
He confirmed the amount. He said, Jaconator, I don't know if it was 18 or 19. He goes, but yes, 24,000 of those from Mt. Gox from 2014 was released. But what he's heard and what I've heard and what John S has heard is that at least 117,000 Bitcoins are going to be given back to the people that got jacked back in 2014. And I personally think that they're going to be taking some profits. So, it could very well happen. We don't know what's going to happen. I know. Let's just say if you own, I don't own any Bitcoin. I own all Richard Hart projects. But let's just say that you own some Bitcoin, and all of a sudden it goes from 20 to 19 to 18 to 17. And because of this Mt. Gox deal, and you're afraid you're going to lose your ass. So next thing you know, you start selling, and it gets down to the $12,000 mark that Richard Hart talked about. If that happens, Gamma, it very well, Pulsechain, if it's ready, could launch. So we'll see.
Isn't there like a $1
Hey, my friends.
Hello.
hey, Tam.
Is that Pam?
I know, right? It's me, buddy.
Oh my God, I haven't heard your voice since Nam.
Deuce talking about black magic in the chat must have called me into the Pulsechain.
Awesome, good to hear you.
It's a joke, by the way.
No, I mean, Jaconator, it's not a rumor that those coins are going to get released. They're going to get released. It's well reported. It's just the method of those people selling is the speculation at this point. Like, yeah, some of them sell on market, some of them do limit orders, some of them have OTC deals. Right? What kind of market impact does it have? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, but the point I wanted to make, Gamma, is that it's not like back in 2019 where there were 24,000 were released. These ones are all being released at the same time. So it's not like 10 here, 10,000 here, 20. No, that's not the case. That's not what we're hearing. If it's 117,000 Bitcoins that are going to be released, it's going to be released at the same time. None of this 1 week, 1 week. That's what I've heard. And so that's what I'm saying. So, Cam, have you heard anything about that? About that Mt. Gox money coming back to the people that got jacked? Have you heard anything about that?
Isn't there a lot more BTC seized from various different projects, exchanges, etc.? Are those ever going to be sold or dumped or released?
I don't know. I don't. The only
Some
thing I've heard about
from
was
there
a
was
monk
like
off.
100K from the Bitfinex hacks, some plus token scam shit way back.
I'm not sure, bro. I just talked to some of the day one Hexicans, and that's what they're sharing with me. So we have this conversation with John and Crypto Goose, a few other guys. So we'll see. Nobody knows, but we'll see. It would be awesome. I mean, if it's going to tank, the sooner the better. If we can move on with Pulsechain, if it's ready.
So what kind of volume do you guys think PulseX is gonna do on the exchange once it's launched?
Well, if you look at what the other dexes did, it's going to kill it, bro. If you look what the other dexes did the first 365 days, I think the average is like, I want to say at least a 250x. So yeah, it could be stupid. We'll see.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the price appreciation. I'm talking about like the
Oh, I'm
value
sorry.
as far as like what kind of dollar volume you think is gonna get pushed through the actual exchange.
No, that's a good question.
It's a good question that nobody has an answer to.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
There's
the
a
only way
lot
to
of
figure that out.
unknowable, unanswerable questions going on in the last like
Yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, ain't no question gonna have an actual answer to it until actual launch. I was just looking to like what people thoughts were on about it.
Well, if it starts at 0.0008 or something like that, or 4, like they talk about Pulsechain, and it does 250x, you could kind of figure the numbers from there. If that's any help.
No, like for instance, like my question is like do you think it's gonna do like like a couple $100 million of volume a day, or you think it's gonna be more like towards $1 billion of volume a day going through PulseX, or even more? Because from my understanding, I believe even on the testnet on the first day, it was like extremely high from my understanding. So I
Yep,
was just
you're
trying to
right.
kind of like get an idea.
You're talking US dollar value? US dollar values on testnet are just completely bogus, obviously.
It is bogus. Hey, Gamma, but you would probably be answer this question. How much money is moved through Uniswap each day, or Trader Joe's, or Sushi Swap? Isn't it like a shitload of money, bro?
You can go on Dex Screener and find out.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Is there a total bar on this thing? Let's see here.
Here's a YouTuber, K4K.
Of course.
K4K was saying if we do just a quarter of what Uniswap is doing, it's going to be ridiculous. Plus we get stake our PulseX to receive that incentive token as well. So it's gonna be pretty popular. You'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping it has like a whole lot of buy and burn pressure. I'm kind of anxious to see what that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
As far as
We did
because
this.
I'm just curious to see if the buy and burn pressure is gonna create any green candles itself. Because I think it would be kind of crazy, as it doing the buy and burn, and you literally see green candles, forming just off the buy and burn itself.
Yeah.
We did this thought experiment earlier with share of active, or better, non-zero wallet addresses on Ethereum versus Pulsechain, and then if you look at the volume that's going on Ethereum right now, I don't know how much it is. What is it, like 1.4 billion? And then
1.4.
just take a percentage of that, whatever the Pulsechain equivalent of that is in terms of just active wallets for non-zero balances.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
not reliable, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think I believe on the first days it's gonna be just a whole tsunami of new money coming in, and I
Yep.
think at least the first week, the first couple of weeks, maybe the first month, I wouldn't be surprised if it did like over $6-7+ billion a day of revenue service just going through the actual PulseX exchange just off multiple coins.
That would be more than on Ethereum. I highly doubt that.
Yeah, because I
We have to
believe
find. We have to find out what Uniswap is doing and what
I
Sushi
believe
Swap. Yeah. And
I believe
I agree.
I believe Uniswap, even in the bear market, is still clearing about $1 billion a day in the bear market. I believe.
I
Swap
agree with you.
24-hour volume 1.37 billion at the moment.
There you go. There you go.
So
Total
I
Ethereum is like 1.4. So actually, the remaining swaps don't make up that much outside of Uniswap.
Yeah.
It's all fucking Uniswap, man. Wow, didn't even know that.
so it's gonna be crazy. I believe just the buy and burn pressure is gonna be $1 million a day just invested into the buyback and burn itself.
We're gonna make some money, brother. We're gonna make some.
No, it's
We're
just
gonna make some money.
how many people from like how many of Ethereum users are actually gonna participate in the beginning? That's the big unknown for me. It could be literally fucking 80%, or
Well, I mean,
literally just a couple of fractions
yeah,
of a percent. Who knows?
yeah,
We
the,
know the
yeah that
sacrifice
that's
is
a
dangerous, but those guys are anyways. They're in already.
yeah. Yeah, that's a real unknown because it's going to be a lot of inactive. It's going to be a whole lot of inactive wallets because there's going to be a lot of people that don't even know about Pulsechain. There's going to be a lot of Ethereum users that has no idea what Pulsechain is, and it's going to be a while before they figure out that they got coins just sitting in their wallet.
And it might even take
Well,
a little
currently,
bit
there's
of time
about 200 million Ethereum addresses.
Yeah, so
and then out of
it's
those non-zero balance addresses, which I think is what matters more, because I can literally create like thousands of wallets and do nothing with them. But non-zero, let's see, how many are there? 20 mil, something like that. Like 80 mil at the moment. Not even.
all right, y'all. I would like to continue to keep talking, but I'm at work right now. I got to get going. My break is over, so I'll holler at y'all later if y'all still up in here.
Okay, brother. God bless you, man. Have a good day.
Someone, what was it? The number? Does someone know the number of sacrifice addresses? Like 200,000 or something like that.
What was that?
Approximate or exact number of sacrifice addresses.
For which one?
Pulsechain.
Well, I think there's double on PulseX. I don't know the answer to that question, but I think it's almost double on the PulseX side, though. And the reason why is because a lot of them are FOMOing in because they miss a pulse change sacrifice. That's the
Yeah,
reason
I'm
why.
just trying to assign
Yeah.
a percentage. So, like, what is the percentage of people already in, as in sacrifice addresses, compared to non-zero addresses on Ethereum? That's like the most realistic, pessimistic forecast to the guy earlier. Forgot his name. Like, assuming nobody outside of sacrifice addresses participates in the first couple months, that'll be your number, at least in terms of percentage. what is that, like 0.5%, something like that. Sounds about right.
I have to log into MetaMask to get that information for some reason. Anybody else have that?
I'm looking on Glassnode. Number Promise is a paid account, so I found a recent screenshot of Glassnode ETH number of non-zero addresses, and it goes between 20 mil in 2016 up to 80 mil in the last year. Then the number of sacrifice addresses, where the fuck do we see that? Wasn't there like a sacrifice checker that had all the wallet numbers? There we go, 41,000 addresses sacrificed for Pulse. So nowhere near 200,000. Mind you, though, I think there's reason to believe that there's just overall less addresses on the sacrifice specifically, because it's better to have everything consolidated into one if you care about volume bonus. Whereas on Ethereum, you don't need that, right? A lot of people have multiple wallets, blah blah blah. So maybe they're not even comparable. Yeah, Pulseradioapp.xyz has 41,800. Maybe there's a couple more since they stopped tracking at some point. Let's be generous and say 50,000 plus what was the other one? PulseX lead has 136,174. So if I'm generous, I'd say about 0.5% of Ethereum non-zero balance wallets are aware or have participated in Pulsechain and PulseX. And if I want to go crazy, take this percentage and just extrapolate it to how well Ethereum did in the first 2.5 years, whatever, the first bull run. Just take what, 0.005 times 200,000% of Ethereum's bull run, then that leaves me with around 1,000%. I mean, that's just moon math right there.
What you laughing at, Jake?
Dude, I don't know what's funny, but like, yeah, like we can hear what's up.
I'm sorry about that. I just got a message from one of my friends. It's making me laugh. But have you ever got one of those messages that just makes you laugh? You know.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
So Tam, you going on vacation soon or what? Hello.
Yes, I am. Mid-August.
Oh, nice.
You got a cold, Jake? You sound like you're a little stuffed up. You all right?
No, I was just a little taking a bath. Is that a word? What's the
It's
weather up in what's the
three.
weather in your parts?
Taken aback. That's 3 words. Oh my god.
Hey, how's the weather in your parts right now?
Like 40 degrees.
Oh man, I wish. It's like 85, 90 right now. It's right about to rain.
40 degrees Celsius. Times 2 at 32.
So 103?
He's smoking hot here, man. It really is.
Wow.
But he's on Google to see where it's 40 degrees in Canada now.
Yeah, one of these days he'll tell me where you live. Not where you live, but know somewhere by Washington. My nectarine tree is kind of putting out some fruit now, so that's kind of cool.
It's cool.
Yeah. So what are you thinking, Tam? Do you have an opinion on are we getting close? Are we still far? Or what? As far as launch?
You know, sometimes I wish I wasn't admin so I could answer these questions. But I have no idea.
That sucks. I'll tell you what, Bitcoin tanks like I think it is next month. I think it'll be next month. If not, my next best guess will be November. We'll see.
Personally, not as an admin, I think it'll launch after the Netflix thing. But I mean, who knows, right?
Well, I gotta disagree with you, and let me tell you why. I disagree because I think they have to have the launch for the movie to be complete. That's why I think it'll launch. I think that the movie has to be, in other words, the launch will happen, and then the movie will be finished. That's just mine, because otherwise the climax, there'll be no climax at the end. There always has to be a climax at the end of movie. Well, at least it should be.
There's got to be a sequel to the movie.
Yeah, maybe I'll be in it.
Well, that's where Pulse fits in. Hopefully.
True. You look at it that way too.
$10,000x.
That doesn't have the same ring, but all the same, it's nice to hear it.
Yeah, your voice just a little different than Kit Kat's.
What's the story behind people impersonating that guy?
There is a story.
I don't know. It seems like there are people trying to impersonate him. So I was just curious.
They're just making light of the situation. That's all. Because he's not on here anymore, so that's all.
Jaconator, what's up, man? I thought I heard your voice.
Who is that?
Big Bud, your mic is really low.
Oh, it's Big Bud.
Hey, Big Bud. Good to see you, man.
Jaconator, man. I should have listened to you, bro. I should have bought some Hex, man. The price is going up.
I told Tam to buy some too. He thought Jaconator. I already have too much, so beat it. Just kidding.
No, man, I bought all kinds of Hex. All kinds of Hex.
I know. I remember back in December, January, February. Like Jaconator, I bought some more. I bought some more. We were buying some more. I wasn't buying as much as you were, but I was trying to keep up with you. I'm trying to catch up to you. A long way to go.
Yeah, well, you forgot March, April, May, and June.
True.
Stop buying when it crossed over 4 cents.
What's the price right now, Big Bud, Tam?
It's like 4.3.
Hey, Tam, do you think it's going to reach? I know you never give any kind of predictions, but I still, you're a smart lady, and I want to hear your opinion. Do you think that it'll reach a price parity between the Hex on Ethereum and Hex on Pulse the first day? That's what I'm hearing from the day one Hexicans here in Southern California. What are your thoughts on that? You think that'll happen, or it's going to take a while? I mean, what's your gut
I think if it stays the price it is right now, then it's quite possible. But I believe that once Pulsechain launches, I think Hex is going to take a beeline up and right.
I agree, and it totally makes so much more sense. I mean, if it's 30 cents, then for it to reach price parity same day would be a lot to ask for, and probably would be impossible. But if it's 3, 4 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents, whatever the case may be, it's going to happen. I know that, and I probably said this on the chat before that some of the day one Hexicans here that I know believe that it will the first day, and if it does not, then they're planning on going to sell their Hex on Ethereum side and go all in on the Pulsechain side. So we'll see.
So what do you think that'll do to the price, Jake?
The price on Ethereum, if it doesn't reach now a lot of these Hexicans, day one Hexicans, they have a lot. I mean, they're millionaires. I've been to their homes. I've seen their cars. I've seen their watches. So it's not pretend money. I know some people say,
Okay,
no, Hex is
hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm a millionaire and I still shop at Walmart. So what does it got to do with my house?
Well, I mean, hold on, Tim. Do you have Target up there too, or?
We did. They cowered it out. They're gone now.
Oh, gotcha. I'm just thinking that if it does, from what I'm hearing from these guys, and Tim, I'm in the car industry, and some of these, I would say most of the people that I know that are into Hex, day one Hexicans, they're saying that if it doesn't do the price parity deal within the first few hours of the case may be, they're going to go ahead and bring over their Hex from the Ethereum side and put it in the Pulsechain side. So that's what they're saying now. Obviously, the less people that stake their Hex on the Hex side, on the Ethereum side, the APY would be higher. So they're not gonna end their stakes. Neither, just like you wouldn't, I would imagine.
No.
Exactly. But their liquid Hex, they're planning on bringing over. So that's what they're saying.
I think anybody who's holding liquid Hex right now is, how do I say this politely? I don't know why anybody would be holding liquid hex, to be honest with you right now.
Okay, well, don't get mad at me.
Oh, but I mean, Jake, seriously, even if you're sitting waiting for it to launch, right? Even if you threw that into a 15, 30-day stake, you're still getting more hex. Like right now, that hex is not doing nothing but going up and down, up and down, up and down. You're not gaining anything. So, I got my stakes going in, my smaller liquid hex going in for 50 days, 70 days, 30 days, but I'm still gaining hex. You know what I mean? It's just sitting there doing nothing, buddy.
That's true. Well, you've been in Hex longer than I have, so I can't disagree with you. I just gotta follow your lead, I guess.
Throw it in a stake because, with all due respect, I unstaked the other day and restaked for less than $2 for both transactions. I don't know what the hell was going on with Ethereum, but one was like 68 cents and one was like 52 cents or something like that. I was like, what? So yeah,
Are you serious?
like, yes, man, I'm serious. Like, I'm dead serious. I even took screenshots because I couldn't believe it.
Wow, that's crazy.
By screenshots, I mean not on my cell phone. I mean on my computer where you snip. Screenshot just automatically comes out, so I don't want anybody to think I'm doing crypto on my phone because that's not what I did. I did like a snip where you snip it. So just so I'm clear.
Hold on a second. Are you telling me I gotta take my MetaMask off my phone and get a Trezor? I mean,
You're seriously not doing crypto on your phone, right? You're just pulling my leg.
heck no. You kidding me? You kidding
Okay.
me?
Okay.
Papa Boner would kill me.
I'd kill you and just take your hex.
Hey Jake, I got a question for you. So you said, a few minutes ago that some of these hex whales, they're gonna go to the pulse side of the house if it doesn't reach parity within the first few hours.
Yes. Yes. And they're day one. They're not pre-chain whales. They're whales. I mean, I don't know. Tam, I'm not going to dox Tam, but Tam's been in the hex for a long time. What are your thoughts on that, Tam? I mean, would you? I mean, you just said that if it's a low price, like 2 or 3 cents, it'll probably reach price parity pretty quickly because of the price at that point. But you have to remember too, bro, that the less people, the more people that go to Pulse, the less people that'll hex on Pulse, the less people will be staking on if they end their stakes. A lot of the hexagons that have a ton of hex, like Cam said, they're staked, so they're not gonna early end their stakes to go into Pulse. That's not gonna happen. Now their liquid hex. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say because I mean, a few of these guys, they didn't say they didn't tell me they're going to early end stake, but it only
I
makes
think
sense.
they're
Obviously, they probably have some liquid hex as well.
Yeah, I think again, I can't speak for them. Who knows, and who knows if they're not actually going to follow through. I'm just trying to understand what the rationale behind it is, and I think it would be somewhat driven by, is it lower, or is it higher, right? Because I don't think you just want to go ahead to the pulse chain side, regardless of what it's doing. I think it would somewhat depend. And then again, who knows if all the whales are going to do it, some of the whales are going to do it. I was more so curious about the logic and the driver behind it. So that's why I was asking.
Okay, that's a good question. I would say this: if we don't know what the price is going to be, nobody knows anything. So if the hex price on Pulse Chain we know it's going to start at nothing. We know it's going to start at nothing. That's a fact. So if you could get in at 0 and it goes nuts from there, what's Richard Hart say? Who makes money in crypto? The early investors and the founders. Right or wrong? Am I right?
People that hold.
And hodlers, of course. So that's my point. So I think they're thinking, you know what? Well, I could definitely have a 6 month stake, 8 month, a year stake, a year and a half stake for pennies on the dollar, as opposed to on the Ethereum side. So I really can't answer that question other than the fact that the price, like you had mentioned, if they could come in, if it does not reach price, in other words, let's just say hypothetical that Hex on the Ethereum side was 5 cents, but yet you could buy Hex on the Pulsechain side for a tenth of a penny. What would you do? I think
Yeah,
that's
I
the
can
mentality.
see it. Yeah, that would be a good, for lack of a better word, I guess, justification for it. I mean, for me personally, I don't know if I'd make the case to switch over necessarily. Again, it depends. It depends on the situation, I guess. But to just blindly say that, I guess, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what the rationale is, so that's why I asked. But yeah, I can.
Well,
That makes sense.
yeah, that's the only rationale I can say. As a matter of fact, gentleman's going to call me here, who's made over $10 million on Hex. He's going to call me here shortly. I have a meeting with him here in a couple of days. Good friend of mine. As a matter of fact, I used to work with him 20 years ago, and I come to find out he's a Hexagon, and we reconnected, and we're going to be having conversations here soon. And I'm going to go ahead and get kind of pick his brain and find out what his thinking is, and I'll be able to come back on chat and share that with you. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, but at the same time, Jake, anybody who has a stake and they end stake, let's say hypothetically, there's multimillionaires that are going to end their stakes. Anybody who has a stake still is going to benefit from that. So the less people who stake, the higher the APY. Why on earth would I end my stake and go over to the Pulsechain side? Emergency end stake.
And I said that. And I said that earlier. If they're staked, I can't see them unstaking. But again, it's not my money; it's their money. It wouldn't make any sense to do that at all. But they have some liquid Hex. They do, just like I do. I know I'm in trouble, but just
Well, the good thing is, Jake, if you stake it even for 30 days, right, you'll get a copy of that on the Pulsechain. You know this. So why hold liquid Hex? I'm curious. Why hold liquid Hex?
I guess it's just a choice. My body, my choice.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a lot of it. But I do have some, and I'm sure they do. They do as well. So
No, I get it. I'm just thinking, like, the purpose of Hex. We know the purpose of Hex. So I can't understand why people would be holding liquid Hex without staking it to gain Hex. It just it doesn't make sense to me.
I think the only answer would be is that if I have liquid Hex, I can do whatever I want whenever I want. I don't have it staked. I'm not locked in. I can do with it as I choose. I think that's the only answer to that question. If it's staked and I earn against stake, it's going to cost me. And if I have it liquid, I can do whatever I want whenever I want without being penalized. I think that's the answer to your question, honestly.
Okay, so let's just say that's the answer to my question. Okay, so let's say you stake Hex for 30 days. Go on to that Hex staking calculator, and let's say you have, okay, I'm just going to say 1,000 Hex and stake it for 30 days. I don't know how much you get. I don't know. I personally have never staked something so low, but I'm just using that as a hypothetical number. So let's say you had 1,000 Hex and it gives you 30 Hex. So you have now 1,030 Hex in 30 days. So let's say you have 5,000 hex and it gives you 200 hex. In 30 days, you're going to have an additional 200 hex and you didn't have to buy it.
Good point. I'm with you.
You DM me, please.
Oh, shit. Yeah, looks like I'm in trouble.
No, not at all.
There's absolutely people going to be doing that, but it only makes sense on Pulsechain because the fees are so low. So yeah, 30 days. I mean, I thought about doing 30-day hex stakes, at least some amount. Sure, it only makes sense on Pulsechain though.
There you go, Tim.
That only makes sense on Pulsechain to do a 30-day stake, you mean?
Well, yeah, because you would have to have so much hex, like 1 million hex maybe, and maybe millions not even enough to do a 30-day hex stake and actually come out and profit. Right now, yes, because fees are very cheap.
That's
maybe
a
you
great
could
point.
do a 10,000 or 50,000 hex stake for 30 days and come out net profit. But you look at how much hex you're going to get, and then you look at your fee, and then you're like, okay, what's my break even? And then then you have to do the math with Pulse, right? Well, right on Ethereum, what is it, a $10 or whatever? I'm just coming out with numbers out of my ass because I don't know what the fees are right now on Ethereum, but I know they're cheap because we're in a bear market. But on Pulse, it's way cheaper. So you could literally do 1,000 hex stake on Pulsechain for 30 days and come out net profit because you're talking about a sub penny fee. You're probably going to be net profit by a large margin on Pulsechain. I mean, I don't think I couldn't tell anybody ever to do a stake on Ethereum less than like 5 years probably, right? Because it just doesn't make any sense with the fees. Because
Tim,
the
you gotta
fees are
keep-
low now, but what are they going to be in 5 years?
What are you talking about?
Tim, no, I kind of agree with him. I mean, unless you have like a shitload of hex, I don't have
Hold on
anywhere
a second.
near.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, first question, what are you talking about fees? Okay. And why is it you would only stake hex for 5 years?
No, that would be a minimum. I do 15-year stakes. The fee is the gas fee. The price you pay to transact on Ethereum, you have to take the hex you would get by unstaking, what's your net profit, and then you subtract your fee, your gas fee. Now, that's your fee. Now you have your gross revenue minus your fee, which is your cost, and then what's your net profit? There's a break-even point. Now there's that math, and now we're talking about what's the fee going to be in a year, in 5 years for Ethereum, right? You can see what it will be in Ethereum, but what's the cost of an Ethereum, right? That's why I say it doesn't make any sense to do that on lower time horizons on Ethereum, but it would on a Pulsechain because Pulsechain is so much cheaper, and it will continue to be very cheap for the foreseeable future.
Amen.
First of all, I disagree with you, and I'm going to tell you why. We got Pulsechain that's launching, and this is only my opinion. This is not Tammy as an admin speaking. This is Tammy as a personal person speaking, because I disagree with you for different reasons. Yes, gas fees do go up and down. They fluctuate just like crypto does. I put a 30-day stake in, anticipating that Pulsechain will start in 30 days. That's kind of what I do. This is my liquid stuff. Do I have stakes for longer periods? Yes, I do. I have stacked stakes, but I also have liquid hex under 200,000 hex. So what I do is, for example, just under 140,000 hex, I put into a 30-day stake, and I got roughly 1,200-ish extra hex. It cost me 92 cents to stake that one. And then I did it again, and it cost me 62 cents to unstake, and 58 or 52 cents, I can't remember. Like I said, I took a snapshot of it to restake it for 30 days.
Yeah, yeah,
So
but you can't. It's not normally like.
hold on a second though, okay? Because you have 14 days to do it, right? Whenever I stake or unstake, I always do it on a Sunday at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just the way it works out for me. I staked before my long-term stake, and it still only cost me 12 bucks. And that was a couple years ago. So, and then I did another one for like 5 years, and that one was like 7 something. So there are times in the Ethereum when the gas fees are absolutely ridiculous. I agree, but I disagree for anyone doing a 30-day stake when the gas fees seem to be seemingly so low in the last 30 to 60, 90 days, that why would I not do a stake for 30 days, 140,000 hex, let's say, and stake it and unstake it for less than $2 Ethereum and gain 1,100 and some odd hex? That doesn't make sense to me.
The amount of hex you're putting in gives you a net profit with current gas prices. Okay, try that with 1,000 hex, which is what you were originally talking about. What I was saying is,
I was speaking hypothetical numbers. I wasn't given any definitive numbers.
Right?
I wasn't giving any definitive numbers. And there's people that are holding liquid hex, 1 million liquid hex. That is insane to be holding it when you could be staking it and getting more hex. We all know that hex is going to come into another all-time high. So why hold on to that when you can be gaining more hex at the same time? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying 1,000. That was just a hypothetical number.
And what I was saying is, you can do the math, you get a break even, and if it's more than break even, it makes sense. If it's less than break even, it doesn't, depending on gas prices. We're not arguing here. Like, your position is the same as mine. I just broke it down like an accounting thing. That's it.
Looking short term. Making for those 30-day rolling stakes, you hold on 2 years, and the profits just from that yield, from the price change, the couple of dollars of fees that you spent. You got way too narrowly at this. We're talking 15 years, and you guys are like, but I'm going to lose $3 if I stake for 45 days. Yeah, but if you pick up 1,000 hex and you hold on to it, was that $3 going to be worth it? I'd say so.
I agree. I agree. I don't always agree, but I agree.
Leave
You
money
know,
on the table.
maybe it's the trader mindset. Maybe people are still trading. I don't know.
Move your coins to another coin and trade or whatever. But if you're literally just staring at your liquid hex day in and day out, what being paid? Where you know that you're going to need access to those funds, or you may need them, then
I actually staked some of my hex for 8 days because I needed it to after the 8 days, I would have enough for another T-share. So yes, I'm staking 30, 60, 90 days on liquid. But if you're sitting on, let's just say for the sake of argument, so the other guy doesn't say 1,000, I only said that as a hypothetical number. If you're sitting on more than 100,000 hex, stake it for 30 days. That is my opinion. It's not financial advice, but it is my opinion. You can look at the staking hex calculator and put 100,000 hex in there for 30 days. What are you going to get? Like 1,000 more hex? It's a no-brainer to me. It's actually a no-brainer until Pulsechain launches.
When launch? But Cam, you have to admit, the fees on Ethereum have been ridiculous for a long time. And like you said, the last month or two or three, they've been down, and I agree with you because I bought some hex and it cost me pretty much nothing. But for the most part, before that, it was really ridiculous to buy the Ethereum because the fees were stupid. But I agree with you.
Let's say hypothetically somebody has 200,000 hex and they've had it for, I don't know, 6 months. So obviously they've lost money, first of all, because hex prices decreased, correct? Okay, I'll just continue. So let's say you took that 200,000 hex, hypothetically speaking, okay, and you stake it for 30 days. You're going to get 1,640 extra hex for 30 days. If hex stays where it's at right now, you're gaining 1,640 hex. It's what you're doing.
Good point.
Argument for high gas.
I used to, well, I mean, mind you, when gas fees were high, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but when gas fees were higher, I used to think to myself, what the hell are these people doing staking like $35,000 worth of hex for 30 days, 15 days, 7 days, 8 days? Because that to me makes no sense because the gas fees are chewing it right up. But I don't think we're going to see gas fees on Ethereum side go much higher. You know, they'd be within a range because Ethereum is not stupid. They know Pulsechain's coming. And, you know, the higher it is, people do an NF, you know, their little things that makes the gas fees go higher. There are times of the day that we know the gas fees are lower. And I could not believe it when I seen it at 6, 5 the other night. When was it? Sunday, I think? Saturday night, 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. It was like 5 GUI. I was like, what? Like, what a time to end my stake. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. And you got 2 weeks. I mean, yeah, for 2 weeks, your eyeballs are going to be red and you're not sleeping and shit because you're trying to save, what, $5? Like, gas fees have been ridiculous the last few months. So my thought process is, why not make gains on the low gas fees right now? Throw your liquid hex into a stake, do it for 30 days, and watch what happens. Jake?
Well, I guess I need to be a little more flexible.
Argument, if you were talking about making long stakes and worried about the gas prices on them, because the end stake fee goes up as the
Yeah, we're going to talk about long term though.
Yes, no, but he's correct because then you pay for the fees to calculate your stake for X amount of whatever. Yeah, I got a stake in for like 5 years. I got another one in for 2, and I'm thinking it's going to cost me at least, you know, 1,800 for one, and you know, 200, 300 for the other. But again, it depends on the price of gas as well, right? Actually, is a
So
staking gas calculator as well. What?
Life is good, my friend. You know him. He did a stake for like 6 months or some shit, and it cost him more to unstake. This I want to say about. It's been probably been about 6 months since this happened, but he's got quite a bit of hex, a lot more than me, and he staked quite a bit of it for like 6 months or 8 months, and it cost him more to unstake than the money he made. It made 0 cents, and that's a fact. But again, I know that I'm just saying, and I know the fees have changed, but that's a fact, and I think that's what MA or somebody else is saying.
But hex has also come down in price in the last 6 to 8 months. Like, that's not what you have to think about right now, because as a Hexican, or like, you know, at launch, I'm worried about how much hex I'm going to have. I'm not worried about the price of hex right now because I know it's going to go up again. I'm not worried about it. but that's just me. So if I have 200,000-300,000 liquid hex kicking around, I assure you that's in a stake right now for at least 30 days. It's come down in price itself over the last 6 to 8 months. So of course, right now, unfortunately, it looks like he's lost money. But look at the hex he's actually gained, and when the price goes back up, you know what I mean? It's the game, man. It's the game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I agree.
Hey, so we're talking about like launch and then talking about both hexes. Do you guys think that Ethereum hex will be going up alongside Pulse P hex when it comes out? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Tam.
I knew you were gonna throw that on me. I knew you were gonna throw that on me. To me, it's honestly, it's hard to say. I just know that I do have stakes on the Ethereum side for obvious reasons. I think I just spilled the beans on all of that. But I am holding on to my Ethereum hex because I know I'm going to profit hugely. Because if all these people, as we know, or as we've heard, people are going to get rid of their stakes to get it over onto the Pulsechain side. Well, I'm living at large right now until my stake is on Ethereum. And but as far as parity, like, what are you saying, dude?
Yeah, you have open mic, dude. Open mic.
You totally just cut me right off. Now I don't even remember what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah. What a dick.
Okay, I hear you.
Hear you too. Anyway, as far as parity, it's hard to say. I mean, we'll know once the bridge happens, and then people start, you know, throwing their stuff over. I don't know. It's hard to say. For me, it's a no-brainer. Or sorry, to me, I can't think about that right now until about 24, 48 hours after it launches.
Yeah, I know. It's all speculation. I'm just starting to revisit those thoughts of how fast the prices are gonna go up, hex versus hex, basically. Kind of just.
I think it'll be fun to watch. Actually, I'm really excited to watch it happen because I think you're right. I think it's going to explode initially, and then it's going to piper down because you're going to have all these people that have 10x or 100x, and they're like, "Oh, I'm out," because they get scared. And unlike me, I'm going to hold that shit and watch it, and it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I can't wait to see it happen.
Yeah, but Sam, you're a lot younger than some of us, so you have the extra time. Some of us don't.
I'm like 62 years old.
Nice try. Well, you sound good for a 63-year-old. I got to tell you.
Parity between EHEX and PHEX is that exactly the same on both.
I don't know what's going on with your mic, and I'm not sure who's speaking, but you're coming in and out, and we're only catching half.
Yeah, I agree. I can hear
your conversation. That Dalton Donica?
Yo, can you hear me now?
No, very little.
Not really. I mean, we can hear you, but
Really?
you sound like you're 3,000 miles away.
Well, that's too bad.
I like the Jacobinator. Actually, I think I'm only 2,400. But go ahead.
Is this any better, or is it still shit?
No, it's good. It's great.
Way better. Yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying is the thing that I think that brings parity to both EHEX and PHEX is one, you have the T-share rate. So they both are going to be working exactly the same on both hexes because they're exactly the same. And we know that T-share rate drags the hex price up. So in that regard, they're going to have some sort of price parity as large end stakes happen early in the system. Those will be the stakes that cause the T-share rate to go up. So those will probably be very similar in the first 15 years that hex exists, since it's going to be exactly copied over of what Ethereum hex is. And the second thing about price parity is it's really going to depend on what liquidity pools are created on PulseX when it's created. So if the hex ecosystem decides
Mickey Lambo's a cunt!
Oh yeah?
Jeez, is that fucking idiot still around?
Yeah, I just got him again. Some people have no life. I'm sorry, but they don't. Apologize for that. Keep carrying on there.
Listen though, Tab, you've always got to admire him for perseverance. Almost.
People can do what they want in life in general, but when you're blatantly rude and talking about really derogatory words when someone's actually trying to speak and have some value and contribute to the chat, I don't think it's necessary.
You haven't seen the worst of it. He was on the chat yesterday and he pulled his pants down showing his ass. I mean, it's crazy.
And some people need some help. So thank God I didn't see that. I would have had nightmares for the rest of my life.
Some people need a lot of help, Tam. A lot.
So
did the HEXradio catch any of that?
What was that again?
Did the HEXradio app catch any of that on YouTube?
Yes, they do.
They catch the images of somebody pulling their pants down, is what I'm asking.
If it's on video, yes. Yes.
So Big Bud, are you
That's
aware of
funny.
Richard, what's it called? Hart's Law?
Yes, I am.
Well, that's the second point of the parity between EHEX and PHEX. If the HEX ecosystem decides that they want the largest liquidity pools to be between EHEX and PHEX, then that means they're going to be heavily correlated and have heavy price parity on top of the T-share rate that they both got going for them. I don't know if that's going to happen, but those are just things to look out for, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around doubling the supply is going to make price increase.
I guess what I'm wondering is do the general population, do they think they will get more gains with PHEX versus EHEX? I guess that's what I'm wondering, you know?
It'll probably be super situational, honestly.
Yeah. He hit and ran something.
You guys got an open mic there, Cypher.
That's why he's running.
Oh. Like hit on the main road.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dalton. It seems like the universe doesn't want to allow you to speak. Please continue. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I actually lost my train of thought, so.
You said it was super situational.
Oh yeah, it's just I mean, it's depending on when they get in, what the markets are looking like, what the ratios are looking like. Because like other people said, there's going to be a lot of people in the ecosystem that are going to go balls deep on PHEX. And so you better believe there'll be emergency end stakes, people shifting all of their economic energy into that system. And all that's going to do, depending on if they're holders of the HEX system or not, it's going to change the ratios of the APYs that people are being given out. So like you could come into the system maybe 6 months after Pulsechain launches, and you could be like, oh man, I have to choose to buy PHEX or EHEX. Now, I know EHEX is older, but like I could get like 1.75x more hex over here because it's a lower price, and that'll get me like 2 times the T shares if I stake it for longer than 10 years. Whereas if you would have bought it in PHEX, maybe it wouldn't have yielded you as much. So now you have to balance the, well, do I think gas fees on ETH are going to be worth what I'm getting money printer wise? Or do I want to use the PHEX system in hopes of better technology? Maybe there's a fork off Pulsechain and another hex gets copied, and you wouldn't get that if you only had your EHEX. I don't know. There's all kinds of things to think about. Very situational.
Yeah, I guess I guess Tam's idea is not a bad one. If you're considering staking or not, just stake it for for shorter time frames if you're not maybe not sure what you want to do, and then kind of just see how you like one or the other, I guess.
All my stakes are pretty long, but I heard, I don't know, somebody said something about less than 90 days was something dangerous about unstaking or something like that.
$1,000X.
When we thinking this is going to launch, boys? Come on. What date we thinking?
Couple months.
I'm not sure why somebody would say it's dangerous to stake for 90 days. I don't know that I heard that. Not in the last hour, unless did somebody say something like that?
Well, doesn't it say in the on the Hex website something about there's some kind of weird penalty for less than 90 days or something like that?
No,
It'll
to get
completely wipe you out.
shares, you stake longer, you get bonus shares. So you don't get penalized as long as you keep your stake for the amount of time that you said you were going to. You're not going to see like the benefit, like the extra bonuses.
You get wrecked on the gas fees if you're not careful, even though gas fees have come way down now. But that's the reason why, because the gas fees are, when you end your stake, it does all the calculations from the beginning of the stake. So it could be anywhere. I mean, some people's gas fees are a couple of $1,000s. Depends how long your stake's been. But the gas fees have come way down now, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't think it's not financial advice, but I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do to stake like 1,000 hex for 30 days. I think if you're gonna stake, 1,000 is just a horrible number, so that's the only reason I'm saying it. Even if you staked 1,000 hex for 15 years, I can't say that to me would be worth it, because I'm gonna pay, let's say $1 a day. I don't know. I wouldn't stake 1,000 hex personally, but anything over 100,000 hex for those people that I was saying that have liquid hex, I would do it for 30-day period, because your hex is just sitting there and it's not gaining anything. With the slow moving hex the way it is now between 0.033 and 0.042, you're going to gain a bunch of hex. Gas fees, like you said, are way low, and just like I said, I just ended a stake just under 140,000 hex, and it cost me like 92 cents. I restaked it. It was like 58, 52 cents, like right away for another, well, I went 70 plus days, but still it's just like, yeah, like I got liquid because I want liquid on the Pulsechain side. But in the meantime, I'm staking it because I'm gaining hex for doing it. And yes, I have a staking ladder as well. So
You all been tuning into the Twitter space, Tam? They've been having pretty good conversations on there, actually.
No, I'm go back and I listened to a lot of it, and Richard Hart's live there not long ago, that sort of stuff. But no, I haven't been in chat or Telegram for a while.
I've not been in Telegram either because it's been pretty much dead. But the Twitter Spaces has been pretty good. He's been in different discussions with people, obviously Bitcoin maximalists and NFT people and all that type of stuff. Been pretty good conversations, actually. Of course, he upsets quite a few people too, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess. This chat's gone way down though, right? In people compared to what it used to be. Way down.
Hey, bro, we're gonna be back though. We're coming back strong. Believe me, we're gonna be blessed. There's gonna be more people on this chat to answer questions. I've been coming to the chat the past 2 or 3 days, trying to come in and answer any questions. And I don't know everything, but I do know what I don't know. And if I don't know, I'll say I don't know, and we'll get the answers, the questions answered from the people that do know. So we're coming back. You know, and the reason why it's kind of dead right now is because we've been waiting so long for Pulsechain and PulseX to launch. That's what it is. I've been waiting, you know, for a long, long time, and I'm bored. I'm on board with more than 150 people, bro, for probably well over $1 million. You think I'm not, you know, hoping that this thing launches sooner or later? Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna start coming on the chat a lot more every day, like I used to, and we're gonna. I met the gentleman, I don't know, a week or two ago, and he was saying, Jaganator, I'm looking to invest a lot of money, but I don't have a lot of information. How can you help me? And I helped him. And I'm gonna come back on the chat every day like I used to. And Papa Boner and Walrus and Profix and Tam and everybody else. Tam, I hope you come back as well. I know you're a busy lady, but you know, when we do come on here, if you do have a question, I know a lot of people sit back and just listen, and I understand that. But at the same time, um, you have to have questions. You know, I had questions for Cam. I had questions for Pepe. I had questions for Papa Boner. I had questions for Walrus and Profix and Gamma and all these different people. And that's how I gained all my own knowledge. So when people come on and say, "Hey, how you doing? You know, what's going on? How can we help you?" A closed mouth does not get fed. Understand that. So if you're trying to learn, you know, and you have a question, it's okay to ask that question. So understand that if I had a question, even Tam, even today, you heard me asking her questions. Why? Because she's been here longer than me. She knows Richard Her project better than I. Although I've been here for a little while, I still look to her for knowledge. And so when people come on the chat and say, "Hey, how you guys doing? What's going on?" And it could be, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the case may be, or in the morning or the evening. If you have a question, anybody on here right now, you know, bring it up. Bring it up either on the chat, you know, preferably. But we're coming back, brother. We're gonna come back strong. You'll see. Watch. It's on.
Tam's a cunt, lick a lot of puss. Woohoo! God takes out the arse.
I should have just let him go on and on about it, but I didn't want to offend anybody in the chat.
You know, Tam, you ban that piece of shit every time he comes on here.
You know, the sad part is it really doesn't affect me because everything he says about me is completely untrue. It doesn't affect me. It actually makes him look like a fucking asshole that he is. So let's just leave it at that. Yeah.
This guy's talking now. He stoops so low. He's talking about God. Yeah, imagine how blessed he's gonna be. Good luck.
Does anybody have any questions? Because I don't even want to give him the time of day.
Agreed.
Voice chat is back to
Yeah,
you.
I've got some questions. A question is, do you see and this is a security question, by the way, as pertaining to cold storage of crypto, you know, i.e. Trezors, ledgers, all that. Did you see the new cold wallet that Rackham Rochelle is advertising right now, just out of curiosity, on Twitter? I don't know if anyone noticed it, or it's supposed to be the most secure cold wallet there is. Doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, doesn't connect to USB, does everything through QR code, I believe. That's how it works. Looks a pretty cool interface, by the way. Just wondered if anyone had seen it or had any comments.
That's a hard no for me.
Yeah, that'd be a hard no for me. After all the shit he's pulled up in this chat these last couple of months, fuck that.
Hey, listen,
I'm
I'm not plugging any of that. I'm just saying, I was just wondering if anyone had seen it, had seen it or used it or whatever.
I'm sorry. What was your question, Mickey? I'm sorry. What was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't
No,
seen it. I'll just wait for Richard's wallet.
No, I was saying there was a new hardware wallet that Rackham Rochelle was advertising, and I'm not advertising this, by the way, whatsoever. I don't have one. I'm not going to get one. I was just asking a question.
I know, but Mickey, we don't. You know, we don't talk about that stuff on here, bro. You know that. We
Oh,
don't.
it's about a wallet. That's all. It's just a wallet. I personally, it's a hard no. I've never heard of it. I'm assuming it's a hardware wallet.
Yeah,
like a crypto wallet. Yeah, no, I haven't heard of it. No.
Well, Papa Boner said Trezor Ledger.
Well, yeah, and that's what I have too. I have ledgers, but I just wondered if anyone had used one or had any experience with one.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Cypher, you're live and you're hot. Your mic is hot.
Yeah, just circling back for a second. I agree with you, Jake Nader. That's gonna be it's gonna be nice when people start flooding in here again, and just when things get exciting again. It'll be nice.
Yep. Amen. Big Bud, I'm done with other chat. I'm back, and it's on.
Yeah, I've been out of there for a couple days, but I don't know what's going on. I honestly just don't know. Don't really. I don't know. Don't get it.
It's okay. You're back. I'm back. Cam's back, and we're gonna be blessed. You'll see.
And other people are back that we don't want back.
Yeah. Well, we need you on here, Cam, to ban that schmuck.
Well, the chat is free for all to come in. Apparently he's got a personal vendetta against me, so I'm going to say this live on HEXradio. I have a cease and desist letter that I've sent to him personally and contacted the police in his area. So if he keeps it up, I will have him charged for harassment. That is on HEXradio from Tam.
Amen.
Here, Tam. Don't take any of that shit.
Not. Did you stake your hex yet?
Got a minute?
Got 23 and a half hours before the day rolls over.
Yeah, exactly. You're late. You're late, Jake.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see newbies come in, and then and Pulse is out, and then they're going crazy. Oh my God, we hit a 100x.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I think what'll be funny is when Hex is pumping and people are in the Hex chat again and they're asking all those questions like, what happened? Why is it going up? Where's the news? We're all just gonna be like, nope, it's just doing Hex things.
Wait till it launches. The first 8 launches, the people are gonna be coming in on here. It's gonna be crazy. Walrus and Profex and Tam and all these guys. It's gonna be exciting. It really is.
Might be like $5 billion plus exchanged on PulseX or something on the first day. Like I feel like there's gonna be a lot of excitement.
You never know. Only God knows. But it'll be good for us, you know.
For those of us that have PulseX bags, yeah.
And the cool thing is they're still not late. Big Bud, they're still not late.
Right.
You know, my brother, you know, he I think I told Tam this a while back. He invested in PulseX in a decent bag. He didn't get in a Pulsechain, but he's still not late. So the people on this chat, just because they didn't sacrifice, doesn't mean that they're not going to have an opportunity to make a lot of money. I mean, if you got into to Bitcoin the first day, or Hex, I'm sorry, or even Hex or Ethereum the first day, you probably wouldn't do okay. So we'll be all right.
Hey, Jake. Jake, I'm watching the names in the chat, and there was a guy that just came on with your name on it. I think he was hoping I'd let him in, but because you were speaking, I was like, what? What's going on here? There's 2 Jakenators. So I think he just changed his name to Brian, and I'm waiting for the next name.
Yeah, it's convicted. He impersonated me before, and he got me banned. And you know, he's done. I'm done with that chat, and I'm done with him. I'm not going to surround myself with incompetent schmucks like him. So
Well, I didn't really say it was him, but because I really prefer not to give him energy at all. But yeah, I just happened to notice that, and I had to like go out of chat and come back in because I thought that was very odd. And now the name's been changed.
yeah, he's trying to impersonate me again. He's a moron. He's not going to bring us down though. We're going to be good.
Well, everybody who comes in, just so you know, just while I'm on, I'm going to mute the chat. But after I leave, I don't know if there's any admins on. I know it's probably going to be annoying, but I know in the UK I think it's pretty late there right now. Mickey, is it late over there?
I don't know. I live in America.
Oh, for Christ's sake, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
But it is. They're 6 hours ahead of us. So you're looking at what?
It's 1:30 in the morning.
It's 1:30, yeah. But that's not going to stop.
Oh, okay. So it's not. That's not that late. I just assumed it was like 5 or 6. Look, because I don't really know the time exchange, like the differences. But yeah. So I mean, if people have no life and they're on chat all the time and they're making ridiculous comments and disturbing the chat, well, I mean, clearly they don't have a life. So, but my point is I am muting this chat while I'm in, and I don't want to offend anybody. So if you want to speak, if your hand's up, chances are I'm not going to answer you. You're better off DMing me so I know you're legit, because I don't need to listen to that, and neither does anybody else.
Hey Tam, did I tell you I moved to Detroit?
So lie. You so lie.
Saying I'm in the car business. So they make cars there.
Who the hell would move from California to Detroit? No, but seriously, where the sun's shining all the time, you don't have a winter. You got, what was it, nectarine trees that you're growing? Yeah,
That's
whatever.
correct. I'll send you a picture. Good to be back.
Does anybody know how much percentage Hex went up when Richard announced Pulsechain the first time?
What percentage or what amount?
Percentage, I guess.
Percentage, but I know it went from like 8 cents to like 45.456, something like that. Like within a month. It was pretty crazy actually.
Oh, okay. So that's over 500%. Oh, okay. Okay.
So we're up 10,000. Oh no, sorry, that was Hex. Whoops. That was on, yeah, it was about 10,000 X it went up to.
I think you also have to bear in mind too is I think, and I'm sure Rich is right. He's waiting for the devs to finalize the code and all that stuff. But I also think he's obviously wants to launch it in as close to the bottom of the market as he can time, if anybody can time that. I don't think we're even close to the bottom of the market right now. So I don't know. I can see easily Bitcoin getting shredded 50% from here, no problem. And he definitely don't want to in between that. So, and you know, what anyone else says, it's still the granddaddy of crypto, right? And Ethereum, Bitcoin, all the crypto markets, whatever coin you've got follows that, Hex included. And there's still a lot more shredding to do right now. So I don't know. I think we'll see 12K BTC in the next 3-6 months.
I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't get launched till next year, man. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying.
I disagree with that. I agree with what you said first, but I disagree with that. I think that we're going to launch prior to next year. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, that hopefully it does. That's what we're all hoping. But I see a lot more pain, not only in the crypto, but the general financial markets. I see a lot more pain. A lot more pain. The housing market crash has not even started really to begin yet. Not really. But it's coming. And it's going to come big.
I agree.
Yeah, man, and cars are too expensive too. Freaking Jaconator is making a killing over there.
Well, it's all about supply and demand, right? Like any business on earth, it's supply and demand, man. If the supply is low, demand's high, you're going to pay through the roof. It's just the way it is. It's the way it's always been, I would imagine, no matter what you're buying or selling. It's all supply and demand, man.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm trying to buy some more Hex to catch up to Tam, but I got a little ways to go.
Sorry for your hot mic, man.
I don't know what's going on with your mic, but you keep coming in and out.
I think it's hot mic and you don't know it.
Has Telegram been crashing for anybody? Or is it just me?
Yeah, it crashed for me once.
There is an update. So if you haven't updated it, it also could crash. So you might want to update your Telegram. Saying it will, it's just a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if it's my phone or okay.
What about these side projects of Hex, Tam? Can we talk about them?
If it's Pulse or Pulsechain, yeah.
That's not what I asked. Well, it is what I asked, but
What I learned from that is just to be really careful, because yeah, you never really know, unless you really get in depth vetting the project. I'm in some, but just saying. Like sometimes I go in the Twitter groups or chats, and we got all kinds of crazy stuff out there, and some of that stuff just flopped. So
Most of that stuff
well,
just.
I jump on the Twitter Spaces when Richard Hart jumps on one. I get notification. I jump straight on it. Sometimes they're big, man. Some of these Twitter Spaces group, they get like 2,000-3,000 listeners, and especially when he's talking about Hex, they're getting a lot. And then when Richard goes off the Twitter Space, the count drops by like 1,000+ people, literally.
Too long, didn't listen.
yeah, I was in one of those recently, and yeah, I was listening to it, and I think it was like 3,000 people, and then it dropped down to like 1,500 or something right after Richard finished. Yeah, Tone Vase is like so dumb.
Well, the thing is with Richard when he speaks, is obviously technically proficient, right? So he knows about the software and blockchains and all this stuff. And then when someone tries to debate him that doesn't know, that's not technically proficient, he really makes them sound stupid. And he makes a lot of people sound stupid. And I think that comes across as, that's why he kind of gets a lot of hate, right? Because he's got a sharp edge to him, right? And I think a lot of people take that the wrong way, where he's trying to educate you, but people take it as a disrespect type deal when you should really be taking it as knowledge, right? That he's giving you. And I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from.
True. But it's just funny when you contrast people like Tone Vase or other people. I don't know, whoever else he interviewed, Bitcoiners. Like just listening to those and just make it realize, how some of them are just so uneducated. It's crazy.
Well, the Bitcoin maximalists, right? So they're always going to defend it. Simple as that. And they're going to think everything else is shitcoin. So that's just what they're always going to do.
It's like he says things like, Bitcoin has had bugs and critical bugs, and it almost went down, like it could have.
It had two inflation bugs, one in 2010 and one in 2019. One in 2019, a Bitcoin Cash developer found the inflation bug and could have minted as many coins as he wanted to. The argument to that is because people run their own nodes, there's like 30,000 nodes on Bitcoin chain, that they could reject them coins, is what the argument was. But I'm not too sure if they can. All I know is the Bitcoin Cash developer that found the inflation bug was an honest guy and responsibly declared it to the Bitcoin developers, and they fixed the patch. So take it what you will. I mean, Raven coins are the same thing. I don't want to name a bunch of coins, but a bunch of coins are the same thing. And these systems go down all the time. Solana goes down all the time. I mean, Hex has never gone down. Been running for 2.5 years, pretty flawlessly. But people don't want to hear that, right? These maximalists don't want to hear that stuff. So
Yeah, it's just interesting because like I used to be on that side of table with Bitcoiners, and if I ever heard of such a thing in the past when I got first involved, I would have, I don't know, I would have thought twice about Bitcoin, put my money there because those, that's some serious stuff. Like the whole network goes down for some reason because of that. Like it's never talked about, with Bitcoiners. Like, I mean, any of these guys, what's his name? Carl DeMoon's friend. What's his name? But yeah, like all these guys, they never talk about that stuff,
in a space like this, you're going to have a lot of conflicted ideas, right? A lot of them. So you got the altcoin guys, you got the Bitcoin maximalists, the Ethereum, you got the NFT guys kicking in. There's going to be a lot of conflicting ideas of where it should go. But because Bitcoin's a granddaddy of them all, it's always going to, I don't know if it's always going to be there, but for now it is. It's always going to be the big dog on the block, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, when you go outside of the RH community and you look around and it's like these people don't even talk about the critical things about their own coins, the real pluses and minuses. They just don't talk about it, they just shill endlessly. And it's just like, ugh.
Well, the thing is now is if you bought Bitcoin, for example, at 20, whatever it is, 22, 23,000, how many X can you do now? Well, Richard said, we're at the top of the S curve with Bitcoin. It's the same price now as what it was in 2017. I mean, or just a little bit higher now. So 5 years. So how many X can it do from here? So if you bought Bitcoin, how many X can it do opposed to what Hex could do? I mean, Bitcoin's kind of limited now. Yeah, if it got back way in the day, 2010, 11, like what Hex is now, right? 2 years old, 2.5 years old. There's just so much more potential than what Bitcoin or Ethereum's got right now. It just is.
Yeah, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because of the Twitter space that we were talking about and Richard's debate with Tone Vays and other guys. It's just mind blowing that they're still defending their bags and showing their Bitcoin bags. It's like, guys, what are you doing? Like he's laying out the facts. Like there is no gains there. It's the weakest gains. It's buggy. It's got problems. Like it's just
Yeah, but
funny.
people are always going to protect their own bags, right? So you're not going to get that out of them. They're always going to protect their own bags. Bitcoin maximalists, that's just what they're going to do. You're never going to talk them out of that, even though it's spaghetti code and it's outdated. And there's not many developers working on it. And when you bring a new developer in, it takes 9-12 months before they can even start writing code. And then when they do write some code, it's like that's how you got the inflation bug, right? 2 inflation bugs. Because they introduced something new and it caused a problem. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It just blows my mind, man. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. How people still buy the narratives, you know? Because I used to listen to guys like Altcoin Daily and all the guys, you know, BitBoy, all the Furus, and it's like I don't know, man. They're just so
Well,
slimy, you know.
when was the best time to own Bitcoin is when nobody owned it. When one person owned Satoshi owned all the coins. That was the best time to get in. And now it's too late. It's like what he said. There's hedge funds got into it. Big institutions got into it. It's like right at the top of the S curve right now. So it's just how many X can you do right now with Bitcoin opposed to Hex? I mean, it's not even close. Yeah, Hex is 4 cents now, but it could be $1 in a year, 2 years. I mean, so how many X is that compared to? Can you see Bitcoin going to $1 million in 2-3 years? No, it's got zero chance of doing that. Zero.
What I'm saying is I just don't understand why people like on those Twitter spaces, you got all those people listening. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people did receive the message, and they maybe had second thoughts about their bags, but like in general, he goes on the news, on all these different let's say Kitco or whatever others, like I don't know. Well, not Bloomberg, although he was on there, but like even the one he was on recently, um, Financial Safari or whatever. But like all these different places, like actually those guys, they actually did accept him pretty well. But like I don't know, it blows my mind, how it's like, um, people are still, I don't know, they're still shilling garbage, and it's like it just doesn't make sense. But I mean, that's good. That means opportunity, for us. I think eventually, who knows? Maybe this next cycle, maybe this cycle or whatever. Maybe the RH system will really overtake the cryptosphere, and yeah, maybe it'll change everything. Get rid of the furus, hopefully.
It's all going to work out, man. Just hold what you got and wait it out, brother. That's it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It'll definitely be. It'll definitely work out. I just sometimes get frustrated, listening to I mean, just not just listening, but like I got wrecked in the past, like dozens of times, over and over and over, because of the furus, and so I'm just really, just really glad that that's over with.
I guess my question is when, because I wasn't in Hex right from the beginning, but what was the time frame when Richard announced it was going to be launched and when it actually launched? Does anyone remember that?
I was around at that time, but I wasn't quite involved. I think it was like a year or something, plus or minus. I think it was more than a year.
No, but not when he announced it was going to be launched, right? He didn't announce it was going to be launched, and then when he was actually going to go live, what was the time frame then? When he actually announced it was going to be live to when it actually went live?
It's a really good question. Don't know. I know he was talking about it because I was there when he was talking about the CFD token, I think it was, but then he never launched it. And then I was like, then I was like, wait, what happened? And then I was like, oh, did that change to the Bitcoin Hex token? I was kind of confused at that time. And then, but then he was talking about launching Hex for like a long time. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have that long, man, to be honest. It kind of worked out in other projects' favors. Don't want to say exactly, but there's a guy by the name of Charles, and I know when he was launching, I think he was talking about it for like, man, for like a couple years or something, and then like it finally came out, and then but yeah, I think it was hyped up forever. It came out and it was fine.
Maybe he's waiting for a nice Christmas present for us. Who knows, man?
Yeah, yeah, somewhere in that time frame, I could believe it.
Yeah, so my recollection is probably about a year from the idea that a coin was coming until Hex was actually launched. Took about that much time.
But if you look at his YouTube videos, he was talking about Hex back in when I've been watching Richard since 2016, his YouTube channel, and when he was wearing the top hat and all that stuff. And I see some YouTube videos from 2017. He was talking about Hex, and Hex got launched in what?
Yeah, I don't know if that I don't discount that you heard him talking about something, but he was talking about CFD quite a bit. And I know going into 18, he was talking about launching that coin, and then that kind of transmuted not too long after that. Maybe I know it was less than 2 years from the time he named Bitcoin Hex. Maybe as short as a year, but somewhere in that 1 to 2 year time frame.
Yeah, he was still talking about, I think he was March 2018 with the stream with Ivan. I think he was still talking about. I think that was the last stream I caught him on before I kind of exited out of crypto for a while, and he was still just hinting at that CBD token or CFD token. Hex wasn't mentioned at that point.
Process was pretty interesting, you know. He basically group sourced the name. I mean, he may have picked the name himself in the end, you know, I'm sure, but he solicited a lot of information, you know, from the chats at the time. You know, the gameonomics, all the different things, the logo, the color scheme. I mean, he had things pretty set in his mind, but a lot of people participated, like on a daily basis over weeks, if not months. Definitely crowdsourced a lot of the feeling of ownership, anyways, you know, for the protocol. Yeah, Profex, I was out with Corey today on his stream trying to promote the website that I made, you know, try to get more eyeballs on it.
Yeah, I noticed, but I didn't actually get to really watch it yet. So
It's nothing you won't already know, dude. I was just going over some of the stuff that I put together and built.
yeah, I mean, I never did respond to you actually. Yeah, because you were asking what was the top 2 or 3 KPIs or whatever you wanted to see. Right? So, or I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my version of crowdsourcing too, you know, going out asking a lot of people for feedback. Well, people busy, I get it, but I'll throw some stuff up there as I go along, and then, you know, if good ideas come in or not good ideas, we'll try them out and see. I do feel like I'm rearranging the furniture quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean that happens a lot with the interfaces and stuff too, right? Just to make it work right or look right.
Yeah, with dashboards, you know, I'm not a great dashboard guy, man. I probably like numbers better than I do like visuals, so I'm not good for picking them, you know. So we're not super busy here. I'll share this out real quick. So I go back and forth between being too crowded with information and we're not having the right information. I'm gonna figure people let me know what they think they might want to see. Ultimately, trying to provide enough information for people to make good decisions. You know, more informed decisions. A lot of the information is available, as you know, but it's hard to get to. You know, so trying to bring it all together in one place. Maybe give it a little bit of data warehousing flair. So anybody on here, you feel free to speak up too, man. I'm just looking for input on different things. I'm fooling around with these stats here today, trying to show People seem to like that too. Show what the biggest stakes were that were started in the last few days, and what the biggest payouts were, and biggest penalties, that type of stuff. Just trying to see if that'll be helpful. But the one thing that's worked out real well, PulseX, is that that share rate calculation. Finally got it close enough for publication. To be able to come up with a model, kind of predict what we already knew, that it goes up into the right. That wasn't surprising. Now I can prove it, but it is pretty interesting to see how it comes out.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting if you also just freeze it in time, right, at one point, and see how well it matches in the end. I mean, I know there's stuff that you can't take account for, right? New stakes starting and whatever, but yeah, it'd be really cool to see in the end, like, how close it is.
Well, yeah. So other people have mentioned that too, to be able to compare it up with what's happened versus the prediction. So I've got some pictures saved. Maybe I'll grab some data and put it aside. But it changes every time somebody. It changes every time something happens in the system. So because like this thing I'm showing on the screen, it shows these sharp increases where we'll see the share rate go up for HEX pretty high, for the T-shares, but those are like 3% increases. So I mean, they're not terribly huge. When you look at this over 15 years, it's almost like a straight line with little dots on it. But every time someone starts a stake, ends a stake, good accounts a stake, it affects this chart. Very, very minutely, but it moves it all over the place for sure.
Yeah, and obviously you can't take into account future stakes and that whole thing. So, but yeah, it would still be cool to get the data points, I think, and just get a history, for later.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting too. If you think about it from a yield perspective, and quote unquote buying yield, which is kind of what you do when you buy your T-shares. The idea that it is going to cost by the end of the year another 10% more to get the same yield could give you, if you're in the position to stake, the incentive to get staked now. The other thing that's going to happen, so before September 10th, right? There's a big increase there, where it'll go up like 600 or 700 HEX per T-share. But the other part of it, though, too, is I know I've shared this with you. Maybe not everybody doesn't realize it, but we've got about 3.5 billion or so HEX that's staked 45 days or less, and we call that the bow wave. And it goes, so every month or so, people are restaking that over and over again. Well, when they restake, they're subject to this curve. And so by the end of the year, they'll be getting 10% less T-shares, which means they'll be earning relatively 10% less yield, which means that yield is going to go to the other people that are holding shares. I haven't quite figured out in my head exactly, other than I know it goes up for other people, what that'll mean. Perhaps our payouts are going to go up pretty quickly after that. I don't know. Yeah, but this has been my primary focus the last couple months now. Just screwing around with this, just trying to get data together, kind of look at some things. And finally did get the OA, what we think are the OA stakes listed up here. and just to see how much the OA has staked. And looks like about 7.3 billion with an expected payout, total payout of like 46.6 billion. But that's over, I don't know what the last one is. It goes all the way out to 37, I think. Oh, 30. That's between now and 2030. There's a lot coming out that way. Be interesting to see what the OA does.
Mickey Lambo's a cunt.
That's entertaining. I get to see that every day.
Not that we want to.
That's one mentally fucking disturbed dude.
Oh man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is.
He's got a serious problem.
I didn't snipe him. I don't know who got him, but maybe Tam got him or Profux. I'll know that ass. I know that ass anywhere, man.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Yeah, lots to say. Don't want to say anything. Starve it for oxygen, man. Don't even go there. But boy, I got some funny things in my head. Oh well.
The only thing I've got to say is there's a lunatic asylum missing a patient in the UK tonight. I think we should call up all the lunatic asylums in the UK and do a head count because they've got someone missing for sure.
I just hope all men don't look like that.
I don't know, Tam. I just seen 2 wrinkled up walnuts and that was it. That was enough for me.
Jesus, love a dog.
Now I gotta pour bleach in my fucking eyes.
Beautiful.
I've not been on the chat for quite some time. Has he been literally trolling this chat the whole time? Surely not. I mean, there's hardly been anybody in the chat, for God's sake.
Well, he was having a field day on Sunday. I mean, the guy was going nuts.
Mickey Lambo's a cunt.
Ah, I can honestly say I don't think I've ever come across a fucking Fruit Loop like this, ever.
You know, someone just made a good point for someone who was so offended by someone talking about his mental inability or the fact that he has mental instabilities. For someone who doesn't mind showing their ass crack, you know, I don't even know what to say.
There's no words, Tam, for this. I've got to get this, I've got to somehow erase this image out of my mind. It's not going to be easy, I can tell you that.
Well, Mickey, I'll tell you, the guy's obsessed with you because Sunday he kept calling your name. I mean, this guy's sick.
I wasn't even in the chat today.
Yeah, he was calling my
So
name
that's
today
the
too.
bad part. You know, you weren't there, but he that didn't stop him.
I mean, I shouldn't be laughing because the guy's literally mentally ill, but it's bonkers, man. I mean, maybe I shouldn't come in the chat anymore because I'm obviously triggering him. So it's kind of spoiling it for everybody else. You know what I mean?
Well, don't let one apple that's bad affect you not being in the chat.
Tam,
I
he
don't
doesn't
think it matters.
affect me
I don't think
whatsoever.
it matters.
I'm just thinking of it disrupting other people. For me, I almost, you know, listen, I was born and bred in the UK, and this type of stuff don't affect me at all whatsoever. I think it affects you more because you're not used to this type of stuff, right? And I've seen a lot of fucking nonsense. But it's just kind of, I don't want it to disrupt it doesn't affect me whatsoever, but I don't want to affect other people coming in and thinking, what the F is going on here? You know what I'm saying?
I have to say it doesn't bother me, but it does bother me that he's doing it in a chat room that does not belong to him. So that's what bothers me. I could care less what he says about me. It's just the fact that it's very disruptive for people who are actually trying to learn. That guy was showing a brilliant chart, and then boom, we come in with an ass. Like, I don't know what the hell happened, but can we get the chart back now? Or like, can you keep going with your explanation, Crispy, if you're still there? If not,
I think he's kicked it up to a new level, Tam. Soon as them two wrinkled walnuts came out, it's a whole new level now, as far as I'm concerned.
The part I find disappointing is that he came in here months ago crying about being bullied, and now he's trying to do the same thing, which to me is hypocritical.